noises on the camera.
What? I'm so good!
But now all of a sudden, in a 1v4, he takes 2. Down goes both. Can he stay alive? He downs another 1v1 on the Kento, and he wins it!
Clutch this round out for IF. He gets 2. That's a defeat. That's huge. Mikey, no social
Oh my!
on the drop. Where Subarctic is sprinting around desperately, and we're going to overtime.
Oh my God! Ashen! It's high noon. There's the 1v2 and 5-1/2 for Surf.
Well, with our first quarterfinal done with, rather, our first quarterfinal of the night done with, we've got another one in the cards. This one should hopefully be exciting, but it definitely is one with more of an underdog story. It is One Shot versus Mystic. Before we get there, though, we've got to say one wonderful shout out to Mike and Ike, our amazing sponsor. You know him, you love him, we love him. It's Mike and Ike. Mega me up with Mike and Ike Mega Mix. You can get the Mega Mix regular pack with 10 different flavors of all sorts of chaos and deliciousness, or you can get the Mega Mix Sours, which personally are my favorite, and they are freaking delicious. Delicious, fruity, chewy flavors. I mean, the sour, you get that little extra bit of zest in there, and it's just a whole nother experience. You can take your candy game to the next level, and you can power yourself up. You can mega yourself up with a good old pack of Mike and Ike's.
And of course, moving on to the match itself, we have One Shot versus Team Mystic. Going over the rosters, we got to take a look at One Shot, of course, making an incredible run through the 6 invitational qualifiers. They are the only team to take TSM to 3 maps, and it was tremendously done as well. It's Quartz, Kilo, Slippery, Storms, and Swaylin. And they not only have not dropped a map yet in SCS, but they have yet to drop more than 5 rounds in a single series. In both the series, they've played 2 7-1s and 2 7-4s. It has been incredibly dominant so far for One Shot, and Mystic are going to have to bring the fire if they want that to change.
One Shot also doesn't lose on Cafe. 2 7-1s there, so Mystic, their #1 priority needs to be banning Cafe. It's a no-brainer. Take it off the board early, and you're going to be fine. But let's take a look at this Mystic lineup. Of course, formerly Two-Face, now known as Mystic. This is Eddie, Kicks, Silent, Splash, and Tones. And here is a big red flag right off the bat with this team. There's a lot we're going to talk about this team, of course, because they are the underdogs. They've only had 1 plant. According to our stats here, they've only had 1 plant in 33 rounds on attack that they've played across, I think, 6 maps they've played so far. Either way, they played 36 attacking rounds and only planted once. The lack of objective play is got to be is a serious problem for them, and it's got to be a focus tonight, especially considering you take a look at this next statistic. They've only got a 48% attacking win rate. Not too shabby generally, but looking at One Shot's defensive win rate of 80%, Mystic are going to have a very tough time if they do not play objective focus. One Shot, they are a very objective focused team. They do get the bomb down a lot of times. They've got like half as many attacking rounds and like 7 times as many plants. I think they have about 7 plants.
Something like that, yeah.
Really, they are sitting in a very tough position. Mystic are, that is. There's a lot they need to do right here. Let's take a look at some players, though, to see who we can focus on.
And of course, the highlight for One Shot is Quartz. The Frenchie ex-NAL player for Mirage, and now top CL player, has been incredible thus far. 1.43 rating, plus 19 on the KD differential, 82% cost as a primary entry and a smoke player. That is incredible for him. Quartz has been heating up. Meanwhile, you have Silent, whose main ops have been Twitch and Alibi, certainly some unorthodox ones, but he's been doing well for himself. Plus 12 on the KD, 1.12 rating, 62% cost. And the thing about Silent is that Team Mystic a lot of times have a very hard time in rounds without his contribution. Without Silent, I mean, actually, just off of the back of Silent, there's a lot of rounds that Mystic are at a disadvantage, maybe a 3v5, blah, 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 where Silent will make a play and it'll turn right around and Mystic will end up winning it. Silent through and through, not just statistically, but on the map as well, has always been the biggest player for Mystic.
Well, their explosivity, that's always been a benefit for them. They need to pick a map that lends into that strategy. We can take a look at our veto here to see what they're banning out. They'll ban the bank, which, like I said, should have been their priority to ban Cafe, because it's a no-brainer for one shot to head to Cafe. Unless Mystic have run some crazy counter strats there, that is not going to be a map that Mystic have really any chance at all in. They do have a chance at Oregon. That is where they're going to be starting out tonight. One shot elected to defend, so nothing crazy there. And we will be ending on Chalet if things go the distance. But I really wanted to see that Cafe ban from Mystic. I would have felt a lot more confident in their ability to win this series going forward. But the fact that they opted for that bank comfort ban, I don't love it. I don't love it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Mystic figure, hey, if we can just win map 1 and then the decider, we'll be good to go. But when it comes to Oregon, they've only played it once, and it was an 8-6 win. 8-6 over Gasher's Goons. Concerning Chalet, they haven't played it yet, and I don't believe One Shot have either, but we know that One Shot do love this map. They brought it out in SI quals, and they looked incredible on it. I mean, we don't even need to talk about their Cafe play. Oregon is Mystic's main hope of winning a map here, and as you can see, we are... I'm just going to ignore Ty. We are all in agreement that One Shot should be the victors here. I mean, they were top 4 in Challenger League Stage 3. They were top 3 in the 6 Invitational qualifier. They're, you know, our most recent, most recent sample size of matches. They have only dropped 10 rounds in 4 maps thus far. Meanwhile, Mystic are coming in as our 2nd seed. They were nearly relegated from Challenger League. I mean, it's a no-brainer to predict One Shot for this one.
Yeah, it really is. Mystic, it's an uphill battle for them. You mentioned, you know, one player's silent who needs to go absolutely insane, and that is without a doubt the case. But everyone on Mystic needs to be firing on all cylinders. They need to be playing in their, you know, upset mentality. We've you know, dogged on this roster before. We've doubted Mystic before, but they're this far. They've made it into the playoffs from out of a group stage that was not easy in the slightest. There were moments where we didn't think they would progress through, but here they are, prove the doubters wrong on several occasions. It's not impossible, but it is improbable. Like you said, Silent being a key contributor, he needs to be firing on all cylinders, and there's got to be some depth on that roster, because if there's anything that a team like One Shot has, it is a ton of depth. Even if Quartz is not the top fragger going absolutely insane, you've got, I mean, a roster of just competent fraggers who are going to, you know, back him up. And even on defense, he's not even playing that fragging role. You've got to be worried about 100 other people as an attacking team if you're Mystic when you're walking into this opening map of Oregon, and only then do you walk into Quartz as the smoke sitting back in the site waiting for you with open arms. So a lot of kinks that Mystic are going to have to work out right away. We highlighted the objective issues they've been having. One Shot are really good at just head down, play the objective. They don't go crazy, don't do stupid stuff to get frags. Mystic need to just find that mentality as well and run with it as far as it will take them.
And especially on a map like Oregon, which can be extremely objective focused. Now, One Shot have not played this map just yet in SCS. I don't know if they played it in the 6 Invitational qualifier. I can actually double check that real quick after. But I mean, this is a map that Mystic have brought out time and time again. I mean, I remember back in Stage 2 or Stage 3 of Challenger League, really early on in the season, they actually beat Parabellum on this map when they were known as Two-Face. So there's certainly no slouches when it comes here. It is a little bit worrying that Gasher's Goons, who, let's all be honest, did not look great, took them to overtime here. And no, One Shot. Oh, One Shot did play Oregon in 6 Invitational qualifiers. They played it against PB, and it was the one map they won in that series.
What did they play against Mirage?
They played Coastline Cafe and Clubhouse.
Oh, the Coastline Cafe, they just love it. I think those are the 2 maps they played here in SCS only, right? Just Coast and Cafe?
One Shot, they played Coast and Cafe against Nocturnes, and they played Villa Cafe against Aerial.
Okay. Same scoreline though, like 7-1-7-5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess our comfort on Oregon still, somewhat up in the air. But still a strong team, regardless. Mystic, I guess, they haven't played Oregon yet either. So they have played 6 maps. One of them's probably, I'm gonna give it a quick look here. They played Coastline Villa, Oregon Villa, and so they did play Oregon once. So it's just that once that they've got under their belt, that one map sample size. I doubt that One Shot have taken a look at it in terms of VOD review. That decider match, One Shot had a little bigger things on their mind around the time that was happening. But they are, of course, I guess One Shot, you can say they are released from any other worry they may have had in the stage so far. You could have always said up to now, hey, maybe One Shot aren't playing to their fullest capacity. They're saving strats for quals. They're trying to do whatever they can to focus on something else. But now, I mean, that's over with. They can just put it all out on the line. They nearly made Pro-Am on the first split. They have their sights set on it again, and it's unclear which team is going to stop them.
Yeah, they have looked incredible so far. We apologize for the delay. We've been waiting for Quartz to get into the lobby. He's been having some trouble with his game, but he's finally in. We've got ours from One Shots. We are simply waiting for Mystic to give us the okay, and we can load right into Oregon. Now, concerning Oregon, once again, if we look at Mystic's play on Oregon against Gasher's Goons, right? They won 2 attacks. They won 4 defenses in regulation, and then won 1 attack and 1 defense in overtime. So they took a 2-4 half on their attack. Again, their weaker side. Meanwhile, One Shot took a 5-1 defensive half on Oregon against Parabellum. Ooh. And that is one of PB's favorite maps. So, all right, I know we already talked about it purely, in overall statistics, but I mean, statistic as well is backed up just by looking at our sample size on Oregon. So, a little bit worried here for Mystic starting size. One Shot, they get the luxury of defense as well as this first ban. Would not be surprised if it's just the Thatcher, though. And indeed, it will be. One Shot will make sure that he's not played, just like we see on nearly every single other map.
And just like we see on every single other map, I expect the Flores to be that second ban. Those Rotero drones can be incredibly strong either on that top floor or that basement site, and there it goes. You will not have those drones to assist on the attacking side in terms of clearing out utility, clearing out those shields, bunker, especially down in basement. You just think how nice it is to just roll a Rotero drone in, blow that player out, and then bam, you've got the map control you need. Defensive bans, we also know what to expect. The Mira, the Valkyrie, that is pretty common. Occasionally, teams will spice it up, add a Wamai in the mix, but it will be the Mira right off the board to begin with. Those black mirrors, which we've talked about, can be incredibly powerful on every bomb site, on every map, will not be a factor, and nor will those black eye cameras. We did see the Valkyrie left up, on one of those maps in our previous series, but both of these teams, they know what they're getting into. They do not want that intel on the board.
Yeah, but that does leave the Wamai up, and just hedging a guess, I feel like One Shot's utility clear might be a little better than Mystic's, just, again, off the experience factor, off the fact that, One Shot have proven to be a higher level team so far, but heading into the map now, we can see just what's going to come true if it's backed up by the statistics. We'll go to Laundry first. It'll end up being Warden picked for Kilo because they'll see Eddie on the Ying. Maybe either one of these teams trying to psych the other out, and Eddie will immediately swap off the Candelas onto the Maverick Torch. So more hard breaching at the disposal of this defense. Maybe, that Ying will be sorely missed. They are bringing in Osa as well, which is interesting considering we've only ever seen Osa so far on Coastline.
I mean, Mystic, this is a team that likes to bring out some pretty ridiculous things from time to time, and they also know that they are the underdogs in this series. So bringing out those surprises, bringing out some crazy stuff here, honestly, I don't think it could really hurt them that much. I mean, maybe it'd be good to, see how you can actually stand up against One Shot, but if you know that things are going to be not looking too good for your side of things, why not get creative, bring out the Osa? But it is unusual to see her on Oregon, on the basement site, which is very tough, I would imagine, to use that shield properly, other than as just like a shield to walk in with. Hard to find a doorway, no windows to set up on, so you're gonna really have to leverage the team composition, leverage that support of your teammates as much as you can to put yourself in a good situation. Of course, that all depends on their ability to get into the building. And One Shot working a pretty sizable roam here over in security, upstairs in Freezer. They are going to shut down this clear before it can even begin. Tones will drone, kinda, but he won't drone the corner where Slippery was sitting, and so the Finka is already dead.
Yeah, the drone just went right past top Laundry, instead checked Z and Silent early down the Freezer steps, takes a fight against the shield, but cannot catch the head of the Warden. Still wondering where Splash is going to make his presence known as that Oso with those transparent shields. I mean, maybe we'll end up having a shield stare-off contest from down Freezer. Maybe he'll be used to clear into bunker. I'm not quite sure, as Kix now goes ahead and opens that Freezer hatch. You have lost a lot of destructive power in that Finka. Luckily, you still have the Zoe as well as the nades on the Maverick, but I mean, bringing the Osa, not only is it a weird primary utility to try and make effective, but she also does not bring stuns, and she doesn't bring nades. She doesn't even have a Gone 6. She has smoke grenades, which can be useful, but only if you've already got the destruction covered enough. And look at all this utility being wasted away, and the impact is gonna miss the shield. ADS, I believe, now even being reactivated, so this shield is gonna stay stalwart for quite some time.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that Mystic have an approach from that angle. Splash will open up an approach, I guess, from that Freezer side by taking Kilo down. The Warden, who was challenging pretty aggressively on that deployable shield, will finally fall, but it's still a 4v4, and Mystic, the utility game, as you highlighted, is going to be a serious problem when they try to push in. Swaylin has started to use those toxic smokes, one of them geared over towards that Laundry side where both Splash and Eddie are trying to work their way in from. Those nades, as they come through, just keep getting caught out and burned by utility, caught by Wamag magnets, and just Storms is going to take down Silent as he looked to challenge onto the position of Court. Storm still has this deployable shield, meaning that Freezer is a death trap. Laundry, a crossfire being held on this position, a death trap for Mystic as well. Splash will get one back onto Swaylin, but now has to fight against 3 defenders, and with bullets coming from just about everywhere, there isn't much of a chance in hell. That's going to be a great round for One Shot to begin, taking the basement site rather quickly.
Like I said, utility proving a challenge for Mystic. So much being sent towards Freezer and none of it properly landing. If you're gonna go for that shield, you need to do it early on in the round. Otherwise, that Wamai has generated so many discs. There's so much stoppage for those projectiles to try and get through. And eventually, Mystic just ran out. They already lost their Finka because Tones didn't drone properly. I mean, sure, they trade back Warden, but it's frickin' Warden. Who cares? Storms just retakes in, gets 2 off the shield, and as Mystic try to funnel back through Laundry, they're all cut down one by one. Easy first defense there from One Shot. They'll continue to bring some odd operators off Warden, now onto Thunderbird, whose utility, you know, a little bit more team-oriented. Unfortunately, Storms is going to take a little bit of team damage immediately as the round start. Thank God they have those Kona stations to heal him back up. And Splash now off of Osa onto Twitch, an operator with, feel a little more hard utility for the attack.
Yeah, good to see that they're going to throw the Osa away. She, again, as we talked about, doesn't add much. And the Twitch, while she won't add a ton if there's no Mira in play, assuming that One Shot would run a Goyo, the Twitch can take down those Vulcan shields. But no, One Shot will not be running the Goyo. Instead, the only real utility the Twitch could possibly destroy would be, of course, the Electroclaws from Storms, potentially the Kona stations from Kilo, and any ADSs that Slippery has in the mix here. But this lineup, this setup from the defense is a lot less focused on just deployable shields and holding down those power positions than their previous site was. While they do want to hold the site, that's what those Kona stations are for. I also suspect that the Kona stations will be used to roam all over the map. Of course, I don't mean that they're going to actually assist directly with the roam, but the roamers can get a little aggressive. They can take a couple of bullets worth of damage, because if they can get back to the site safely, they can get healed back up to full HP. Kilo with the opening kill onto Tones. I mean, a quick trade is found. Good support there from Mystic, but we are now 2 rounds in a row where Tones is just not droning correctly and dying because of it.
And 2 rounds in a row where you have lost your Finka immediately. A power player in Siege in this current day and age, in this meta, LMG now gone, as well as nades and a Gone 6 and those boosts that are so helpful to your team when it comes to, you know, indirect res, when it comes to just boosting confidence to take fights in the site. No longer available to you. Kicks going to rappel up towards Master to maybe try and clear in and go for the default games breach. It seems like Slippery. He wants to meet him, though. Peeking aggressively towards the doorway. Storms as well. Placed inside of Attic, aware now because of the drone that they're going to start clearing from that direction, and in fact, shoot the Kona station in pit, completely giving this control up to the attack, not wanting them to be aided by those heals. He'll take a fight through the wall, get tagged up just a bit by Eddie, but Swaylin comes in for the assist because no one is watching Trophy. Good heads-up play there by the defense to ensure that, although pit may go in the control of the attack, it does come at quite a cost.
One shot, still playing pretty mobile on the site, but after, you know, a death, they may be somewhat slowed down in terms of that aggression, but the only real slow is going to be Mystic as they work their way into this site. Slippery!
Okay.
No, you did not. A kill onto Splash through the wall after he gets droned out, assassinates the Twitch, leaving Kixrow and Silent to do whatever they can to bring this one back. It's a 2v4 and the defense is more than full HP. They are all overhealed thanks to those Kona stations. I guess Swaylin isn't technically at full health just yet. But as these attackers work their way in, one in pit and Kixrow pressuring from, never mind, he's dead. It's all up to the Yana. Stuck in pit right now. The last Toxic Smoke now expended, 20 seconds for Silent to work with, and technically, I mean, he's got the diffuser in his hands, but he's got to find his first kill, and then 3 more kills off it. There's the first. 10 seconds remaining, and he's got to push in, but doesn't quite know where to look. There's a player sitting close in games, and he'll get taken down, but Swaylin will actually get the trade. So it'll go 1 for 1, and it will be another round for one shot.
Big part of that round being the pit push from the attack. I mean, you've already lost Tones early on, and the timing from Mystic was woeful. I mean, you still have people sitting outside on the master balcony while you have attackers taking pit. Where's the coverage from Trophy? The entire point of moving into Trophy while taking Attic is so you deny things like Swaylin simply swinging while you're distracted by the kid's soft wall. Easy for the smoke, continues to gas and delay the Iana of Silent, who can't make anything happen. I mean, you have Slippery come up for the flank and slam someone through a wall. From there, you have 2 attackers left in a 2 versus 4 who are completely deviated from each other, and they both lose their 1v1s. Well done to One Shot so far in the first couple rounds, although it's largely been on the mistakes of Mystic.
They're not, you know, super bad mistakes, but there are some clumsy errors that Mystic need to work on. Namely, I mean, Tones just getting into the building. Just drone better. Just check your corners, or have your teammate check their corners better. I'm not exactly sure. I know Tones was droning himself in that first round. I'm not sure in round 2 if that was his fault or his teammate's fault, but there were 2 roamers, both ready to take out those attackers as they work their way in from small tower. And yeah, Mystic didn't even stand a chance. Of course, they did get that trade, and so that early mistake was quickly remedied, but losing a player on the attacking side is always going to do more damage than it will to the defense. Of course, it depends on the operators, but especially so early in the round, it's going to hinder your attack so much. If you lose your Finka, you lose the speed, the ability to heal back up, and with the Kona stations in play, if the defense can get back to full HP, but you can't, I mean, talk about a disadvantageous situation. But here we are in round 3. No need to dwell on the past any longer. Let's see how Mystic approach this one. Over in Meeting and Kitchen now is the defense for One Shot, their tertiary site of choice. And Mystic are working with a bit of a 2-pronged approach right now, much like we would see on a top floor attack. You've got some people coming in from that main lobby garage side, the rest from tower.
I was worried about Storms as a jammer in pocket, but he'll finally, looks like he'll finally place it. Majority of this attack right now coming towards the tower side of things. Already a minute into the round, Splash is going to start going to work on the stage wall. Kilo likely calling this out to his team. Now Storms still upstairs, could potentially find a pick through said wall, as there's hard breach going on elsewhere. I would imagine by Split. Yeah, okay. over by Split, making Kilo's position a little more exposed, but he's able to get away in time. He's playing with that FMG9, so he's got quite the range on him as well. Doesn't need to take completely close gunfights with the SMG11, but he'll start gassing out really early. Silent ends up getting the first pick onto Quartz, but Tones is very swiftly refragged once again. The Finka not able to do or say much about the round. It is even man count, though, so at the very least, you know, Mystic aren't at a disadvantage, but they've got a minute 15 left. They're trying to push both Split and Stage, and there are still defenders upstairs.
Yeah, the roamers are going to be the problem, but this attack has gone, you know, relatively quickly so far. Opening Split, opening the Stage wall, there should be a lot of options for this attack now. Unfortunately, Splash will get caught out. Storms will also follow that one up with a kill onto Eddie, and though Kilo, even though he's lit, he'll pop up and get another kill onto Silent. Kickthrow gets one back, of course, onto Slippery, but now he is alone on 1 HP in a 1v3 situation. The time simply doesn't matter at this point. He's got to make a move, and he'll walk right into Kilo, who finds himself a triple kill on that round, I believe, holding down Meeting by himself, never forced out of that position, sitting in the back of Meeting, frying attackers as they tried to work their way into the site. Another stellar round for One Shot.
A stellar round for One Shot, and again, questionable play from Mystic. Where's the top floor clear? You're trying to push Stage, and the attic hatch is open. Like, I don't get the game plan. Not only that, but you're trying to make a split push from Stage as well, with no cutoff by White or Z. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is right now for Mystic. Both their pushes have been lacking critical pieces. Actually, I say both. All three of their pushes now have been lacking critical pieces at critical times. Now we go back down to Laundry. Finally, Eddie is going to bring out that Ying. This time, One Shot don't have the Warden to try and counter it.
So the mind games, I guess, of the 6 picking in round 1 will, you know, come back, but this time they'll go the way of Mystic. Eddie will stick the Ying and bring those Candelas and bring a lot of utility that One Shot are going to have to find a way to counter. Of course, they have both the Wamai and the Jaeger, and that'll be great for them. And I like the adjustment for Mystic here, because if you recall that first round, Mystic just could not deal with a single deployable shield. I mean, they struggled to a degree that we have not seen in quite some time. Not effectively clearing out a shield, waiting for the ADSs to regen, and then clearing more utility. I mean, it was disastrous. The Candelas, the smokes that the Ying brings, could alleviate all of that, especially if they try to get a little bit aggressive with it. You've got Swaylin here kind of single-handedly holding down Bunker right now. He doesn't have a shield to work with either. That's one been placed elsewhere, so he'll have to be very careful about how he plays this, because if Eddie, you know, throws these in, this position could be taken in an instant. Eddie will tempt the Candela, but wait a little bit, waiting for the smoke to dissipate. Swaylin has already used one of those smokes, probably going to use a second once these nades just pour on in. That frag grenade will take care of the shield on the barrel's door. Here comes the Candelas, but here comes Kilo, lighting them up, but can't quite finish anybody off, and Bunker Control is now in quite a bit of danger. Splash, he'll spot the back of Kilo, nearly finishing him off, but Storms is the one to actually get the opening kill, and that is a shocker, considering how much progress Team Mystic thought they had made. It looked like they were going to get a kill, but not quite. In fact, they allowed the reinforcement to go off on the rotate, but Eddie, using the Maverick holes, will get 2 kills right back.
Splash will compound another 3 kills go the way of Mystic for just Silent. That leaves Slippery and Quartz alone. Quartz will try and retake into Pillar, but the Hibana's aware of it, still loses the fight, but Quartz can't transition the pre-fire. Slippery's in a 1v3. Eddie is lit up. Elbow is not completely open, but someone is watching those holes. Splash with diffuser in hand will start to come through, and Tones is simply holding a long angle through the wall. Not a lot Slippery could do there. Mystic, although the initial rush attempt ended up in them losing a body, that elbow control working for 2 kills really solidified the round for them.
I mean, elbow control is so essential, and that's why we always see those defensive teams, you know, set up that shield in that position, hold that position for as long as they can, and why we often see teams, when they have to back off, they reinforce it because they want to delay as much time as possible for that elbow position to go to the attacker's benefit. Much like I was talking about on Chalet, a map ago, much like we were talking about how the master window provides a cutoff for the entire upstairs bomb site. I mean, this basement site is very similar with elbow. When you get that angle open, it slices supply room directly in half, cutting all the way across to freezer, preventing anyone rotating down the long hall, rotating from that freezer door, or rotating between, the other E-box pillar and the other side to the other site of laundry. So valuable for attacking teams to secure, and with the adjustment to pull out the Ying, Mystic are able to work wonders with that clear. The first round, where it really felt a little bit more composed, they just kind of started fragging out on the site. Of course, Mystic and objective play, those do not go together, as we've talked about already, but if you get the frags, that's okay. You get the job done, you secure the win, and getting the bomb down, sometimes it's okay if that's an afterthought.
Yeah, we do have a retry of laundry here from One Shot. This time, Kilo instead of Ella, instead of Warden, he's on Goyo. So shields aplenty for this defense, 3 in total, with both the Wamai and the Jaeger to back them up. Maybe even a roam? Quartz and Kilo are still upstairs. Although they might just be playing again, for maybe some early presence, shooting some drones, and then falling back. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the thought process right now for those two. But Mystic aren't really pushing fast anywhere. They've opened up that lobby door, but that's about it as they begin to rotate around. They'll actually go all the way towards, looks like bunker. Once again, they don't have that Ying, though, so they don't have that wedge. And things are really slow. Why are things so slow? There's nobody on the top floor. Are they just not going to open E-box? I just took them a little bit longer to drone it. That was weird.
Well, the way Mystic have run in these attacks so far, it's like they've skipped a lot of steps and they just go straight to the bomb site to try to get something done. We've obviously seen around the last one where that works, and then 3 where it doesn't. But here, doing so again, straight into tower, could always just pop down the stairs. They're already down laundry. I mean, they're looking to make something happen early on, and I think Slippery is on his camera right now. No, okay, he's gotten off that and is trying to take the fight, but when he tries to leave, he will get gone 6'd to death by Tones, who will, find the scoreboard now 3 times after, a couple of rounds of just silly opening deaths. He will recover from that and start to put up some numbers. So Mystic are off to a good start here in round number 5. They've got some tower presence, they've got some laundry presence, and One Shot, they're now forced to be a little bit more careful with how they position. E-box, vulnerable, splash, drops down and just goes for a push right away. He gets slammed into the ground because of it. Quartz is not going to get caught off guard by those shenanigans, but Storms is now, it's his turn to step up. You've got 2 people double swinging here in bunker. It won't work for Storms. It won't work for Swaylin either, who gets lit up by an LMG. More than enough bullets to do damage to both of those defenders. Tones will finish off Quartz. Swaylin hits the floor. It's all going to fall onto Kilo to get this done. He'll finish off Tones, of course. Ooh. And now a great shot there onto Eddie, but he's got to find 2 more.
It's Kix and Silent. Silent, again, being one of the main playmakers for this team. Kix has the diffuser in hand. Kilo no longer with the C4, and Silent eventually peeks out and nabs the Goyo. 2 rounds in a row from Mystic there, and I will say, at the beginning, I was a little bit worried. Poor drone work nearly struck again because the drone spotted Storms, but not Quartz in the corner. And then Mystic tried to go for their play. But again, at the end of the round, frags saved them. One Shot pushed out a little too far, attempting to, double swing into bunker. They lost their Wamai. They lost control of pillar. Silent walked in. I believe got a triple kill in that round if the overlay was correct. And One Shot have dropped both of those rounds. Now they'll, stop doing laundry, which I definitely agree with. They'll go back to dorms where they were very dominant.
So, dorms, again, dominant from One Shot, as you said, Harrison. But hey, I mean, the course of the last few rounds has been surprising. Mystic have been able to run through with relative ease. One Shot, you can see they're kind of playing loose right now. It's less of a composed defense than you might have seen when they were playing in those close qualifiers. But at some point, I mean, they're going to have to, you know, start to focus up. I think Mystic have started to figure out what they're walking into. They've got a better idea of how One Shot are running their defenses. And now for 2 rounds in a row, they have dealt with the basement defense pretty quickly. So headed upstairs, here to dorms. And One Shot are rocking with a similar setup. I mean, they've got the Thunderbird again. They've got both the Aruni and, of course, the Jaeger. Quartz, who is slightly extended over towards the kitchen side. Slippery all the way in the basement right now. Likely to go for a little bit of a roam. As we saw last time, the duo roam from Slippery and Quartz. It was actually Quartz and Kilo, which got the opening pick last time. We'll see if they try to do that again.
Yeah, he and Kilo, of course, the only members on this downstairs. Slippery doesn't have a C4, but Kilo does, so this Jaeger might just be aiding his teammate. But there is someone in Armory. Silent ends up being the first frag, though. Not Eddie, who was just lit up by that C4. Quartz gets the kill with his pistol, and the defenders immediately start to dart out, curiously enough. Not wanting to challenge Eddie despite being low HP. Well, everyone except for Storms, I guess, who is still waiting for the rappel here, but he nearly gets wall banged. Finally, he will stop overstaying his welcome, slink back to the site. And although Kilo's lost his C4, Storm still has it in pocket, so it might be imperative for that K to remain up.
All right, he's got that. 1 Electric Claw as well. Always nice to have a extra claw in your back pocket to go for a little bit of a trick. If and when Kixro tries to get those X-Kairos pellets down on the wall. Splash is not going to bother. I mean, not going to deal with any Electro Claws. Not only is there none on the attic side, but the Maverick will have no problem opening it up anyway. But here comes Storms. He wants to take this fight. He'll go all the way up to the breach before falling back. I think Splash heard the sound cue of the rather large Kaid just working his way down the attic hall. So Splash would back off for a moment before he re-attempts to finish off the opening. Quartz will go for a run out and take down Tones. At least somebody was detected outside. I believe it was Quartz. Eddie has been, you know, healed up a little bit here. He, of course, is quite lit, but now with 2 teammates at his side, they could certainly make an impact if One Shot give them an opening. It is a 5v3, though.
Eddie is just going to sprint on in and catch Storms' side. Nearly going to... Nope. Finally going to get traded off by Slippery. I thought the Jaeger was missing his shots there for a second, but he's able to connect. Swaylin now sending out the first of his gas canisters towards main breach. Splash is the next player to try and lord in attic. He's got a Kona station right in front of him, so he can get healed up just a bit more, but he'll get tagged. Now the defenders know exactly where he is, and Slippery will dome him. Now it's just Kix, still stuck towards the breach, being abated by gas canisters in a 1 versus 4. Swaylin still has one at his side to delay even more time. Kix doesn't even have a flashbang to burn this Aruni gate. He has not a thing going for him. And it'll be Slippery to get an even trade to finish out the round, and 1 shot and the half, 4-2.
Not the most dominant half of all time. A pretty typical score line for any team on any matchup in any series. 4-2 defensive side at Oregon is nothing to be surprised at whatsoever. So Mystic are still in a good position. If they can, you know, pull together a 4-2 defensive half of their own, they could certainly be in this fight. Cannot underscore the importance of Oregon for Mystic enough, though, because Cafe, as we've talked about, is a map that One Shot do not lose. They don't. And Mystic leaving it up was a risk they took, and it's a risk that only will pay off if they can win this first map. So they need the 4 rounds. It's not an option for them. But One Shot, they do have a little bit of leeway on the attack. We also know how strong they can be, and theoretically, they only need 2 rounds to guarantee OT. You get that 1 more, and there you go. You have it. It is going to be your map. As far as the attacking lineup goes, nothing unusual. Pretty similar lineup to what we saw from Mystic, but there is no Twitch. We've got both the Yana and the Finka. The Sledge as well from Slippery, something that we saw pretty inconsistently from Mystic.
Yeah, the Sledge being played is a bit of an odd one, considering that you are never going to use his primary utility on this site. For the most part, I mean, sometimes we see it, but very rarely. If you're going to bring an operator with nades, you know, there's others, but One Shot want to bring 4 sets. They have 8 grenades and 3 flashes and 2 Gone 6s. So they have 10 pieces of explosive utility. That is a lot. you can basically, you know, burn the Wamidus and the ADSs with your explosive utility and still have plenty to spare to deal with the Goyo shields and the smoke shield and all that stuff. The Slippery makes sure no one's hiding in the same spot that he was, but they do have pings on a defender, it looks like, who was upstairs. There's yellow pinging something. I didn't think I saw anyone from Mystic roaming, though.
Yeah, and it looks like this
everyone's
overview... Yeah, it'll confirm there's nobody offside. Everyone's downstairs, all 5 defenders. I mean, well, you got somebody extended all the way over towards Laundry, a couple people in Freezer in the site itself, and then somebody over towards the tower side where Storms is approaching from. I think that's Eddie, yes, tucked here in Harry Potter, just waiting for something to happen. But as far as the attack goes, they are still doing their due diligence, opening up these hatches. Quartz tasked, of course, with that meeting hatch, given that it is electrified. Kilo, no trouble opening up the laundry hatch. So, excuse me, they've got the avenues on this site that they need. Once Quartz gets this open, I suspect we'll see that security hatch opened as well, just to make sure that Mystic don't really know where the push is coming from. And Quartz will head in that general direction. Storms, he's, you know, working his way down the tower stairs and maybe eager to challenge onto Eddie. He's got to be careful about going too far, however, because Eddie does have that C4.
That's something that the attack is going to have to worry about, both Eddie and Splash, in fact, with C4s, is that Cade can get in position to use it as well. Slippery droning down Freezer will spot one Wamidus that might be able to get shot from the hatch. I'm not sure. He also hears the Wamai in Freezer now as he sends out yet another magnet. The drone will go in to confirm that he is there. ADS gets burned, but there is yet again another Wamidus. In comes a drop just as the Wamai gets flashed, and thus Quartz will survive, but that was a dangerous precedent for that Maverick to try and set, dropping right into the room, even though there's someone holding the Freezer cross and someone in Chala. And now Slippery, he's hopped up on the box, waiting for Tones to expose himself, but the smoke is not going to do so just yet. He's still playing tucked close on the bomb chassis with his gas grenades, of which he no longer has any of. 30 seconds remaining. Flash goes out, does not get Tones, but Swaylin finds the kill on Splash. Kicks her out there immediately for a refrag. In fact, it's refrags all across the board, but a one-man advantage here for the attack. One more gets taken out as Storms dies. Kilo's solo HP easily finished off. Eddie with the last. And what happened to One Shot's attack? They were in the advantage. It looked like they were going to win it, and then Eddie and his teammate just come alive.
I mean, a big problem for One Shot started in Freezer. You highlighted the Wamai playing that brilliantly, really delaying One Shot fantastically well. And I think it caught One Shot off guard as well as us that Mystic had an exceptional utility-focused game over towards that Freezer side, and One Shot could not get control of that position as quick as they wanted. I mean, I think Quartz dropping down the laundry hatch into the middle of the site kind of indicates how confident One Shot were feeling initially with how quickly they could get onto that site below. But then once they couldn't, all of a sudden things came to a grinding halt. When they decided to eventually push in, Mystic had taken up a position in bunker. They had rotated around in several different positions, and they were reluctant to give up certain areas of control. So One Shot, as strong as we expected them to be here on this map, so far it seems that Mystic, they can certainly put together a round-winning performance. In this case, they've done so three times now. So One Shot will need to find something to remedy those issues. Mystic will be heading to Meeting in Kitchen next, interestingly enough, and so One Shot are likely to gear up for some sort of top-down clear.
They don't want to go dorms yet, and there are teams that will opt to play the tertiary site second, sometimes even first, and they have a Cade in play. Eddie's Electro Claw covering probably both the stage wall and that attic wall. Now, luckily, there's a Maverick for One Shot, so it shouldn't be too much trouble to try and deal with. As well as this top floor clear, the only person there is Tones? Yeah. It's just the Wamai. So, I mean, One Shot are, quick and fierce enough on this top floor clear. They can very easily take all that control. They only need to take out one player.
The question is that what they are going to do? Looks like that's the case, as Slippery and Kilo will both make their entry from this master side. Quartz appears to join them. That's an impact. Tomes is going to use 2 impacts just to do something, I suppose, but a Finka boost will prevent any damage from landing onto one shot, and Tones will use that opportunity to just get the heck out of dodge. Swaylin, though, he'll open things up with a kill onto Splash. Not sure where the Jaeger, the mute. Sorry, the symbols on the screen just get me every time. No idea where the mute was positioned. Looks like he was over in dining, playing a bit of a forward position where now actually Silent, the Jaeger, will be taking up a position as well. Kixro's got to be careful. Doesn't want to take those early fights, especially as the smoke. So he'll back on off.
Iana scared me.
As the rest of the team from one shot just starts to move in.
I saw Swaylin whip around the corner. I thought the Iana was an enemy for a second. But Suns go out. They will fully blind Tones. I guess good thing for one shot that Tones fell off so easily because they no longer have to take hatch control. They can just go in for this kitchen plant if need be. But the C4 from Eddie meets the feet of Slippery. No more sledge. Huge amount of soft breach now dealt with by the defense. And no one else from one shot has breaching charges. There's no redundancy there. But in comes Quartz. He'll meet a shotgun barrel. Fortunately, there's a trade from up above. Kilo will finish off the down smoke. It's a lot of delay power now gone from the defense as we even up the man count. 3 apiece leading into the last minute. Swaylin is still watching and waiting, though, from dining, eagerly awaiting the call from his team to try and make his move. Tones will finally peek over, and he'll eat some damage from that LMG as a single panel wall begins to be breached by the Hibana, allowing Swaylin an even deeper angle of coverage. Looks like Storms can't yet get exactly into security. He's being kept at bay by the Cade, but Kilo's getting this plant down, and no one from the defense is getting aggressive just yet. Make that. Tones walking up, getting the kill, quickly traded back by Swaylin, but now it all lies on the Finka. The Cade not going to win the fight. Eddie goes down, but Silent has the coverage, lights up the Finka through the wall, and Mystic tied the score 4-4.
Yeah, there it is. Mystic keeping us in a dead heat. Wish it felt good. I really wish it felt like Mystic had control of this series, but just some of the things we're seeing from one shot feel a little bit out of place. Take Quartz, for example, who just walks into security and dies. What's that about? That's not something we would expect to see from one shot, a team of this caliber. Lingering on the top floor as well, I suppose, is a product of that mentality. They took that top floor control and then maybe hung up there a little bit too long, making themselves vulnerable to some C4s from below. That happened, and we saw how things slowed down. They got into a little bit of a pickle. They said, oh gosh, now it's an even man count. We've got to get this bomb down. We've got to push. I thought Storms could really have the round-saving play. He had a really good cutoff from his position by that security door, all the way through towards the green hall, towards that rotation into meeting, but he was the one who actually got surprised. Tones swung from Z, caught him totally off guard, and the angle that could have won Storms the round, one-shot the round, actually left them very vulnerable. Tones was able to sneak around the other side. That gave the rest of Mystic an opportunity to retake from the site within, and for the most part, a clean retake there once the bomb went down. So a timeout here actually from Mystic, not from one shot, interestingly enough. Maybe hoping to just secure this momentum, make sure that they stay with this pace, knowing that one shot are likely to make some adjustments soon.
Yeah, I mean, one shot, I'm sure they're as thankful for this pause as well, because, I mean, dropping 2 rounds in a row like that to some very odd mistakes is a bit weird. Not something that we'd expect from one shot, who again looked so good on Oregon against Parabellum just recently in SI qualifiers. But even at 4 apiece, I mean, big stuff from Silent, both in the laundry defense and on meeting, to ensure that Swaylin wasn't allowed to clutch in the 1v2. He and Eddie catching those attacking players as they rotated off that post plant. Tones as well killing Storms inside of Z. Big pick there. But otherwise, I mean, going to dorms, one shot have a chance to reset now. It would take a much more standard push, you know, go over towards attic, open attic wall, go over towards games, open games wall, establish the crossfire on site, what have you. We need to get back down to basics for one shot.
Right. In the battle of the basics, I mean, we know who's superior. We know who would win that battle. And so one shot need to just force Mystic to play their game. force Mystic into the style that One Shot want to play, and a team like this has the ability to do that. But we've also seen moments, just like in several of these rounds, where it's Mystic who are the ones controlling the pace of the round, and they're the ones forcing One Shot into their style, and that is a more chaotic style. That is a more, you know, there's picks happening all the time throughout the round. No cohesive roam clear because Mystic won't even let them. They're darting all over the map. They're dipping away early, and One Shot just haven't seemed to be quite ready for it as we may have expected. So keeping in mind this is Mystic's map pick, and we know they're going to be stronger here. It is surprising nonetheless to see One Shot not quite up to par. Hopefully we'll be getting back into this in just a moment as our pause wraps up. I'm not exactly sure this is a tech pause. I imagine it is not a tack pause because that timer has run out. But we'll see what Mystic concoct on this top floor defense and what One Shot do to really find their first attacking win. It'd be about time.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the pause is for. Hopefully we can get back into it soon. But I mean, like I said, hopefully One Shot are talking about you know, what's been happening on their attacks. It seems like once One Shot, you know, go for the execute, Mystic find just that slight bit of space. And I mean, hell, if what it takes for One Shot to win these rounds is to stop going for objective, maybe, you know, stoop down to Mystic's level, I'm not quite so sure, because both times they've gone for that plant, I mean, sure, they got it down in the round prior, but it's always come at a cost. But even then on Laundry, right, they took so long to get into Freezer. By the time they all started to flood onto site, there were still positions from Mystic that were not flushed out. As One Shot tried to go in and play that objective, Mystic were able to cut them down one by one. And even though, you know, One Shot were able to get trades back and forth, Mystic able to just string together a couple of kills at the end there. I mean, just like we saw on Meeting, it was a 3v3, trades were in step, but Mystic able to eke out 2 kills in a row. That's been what's winning them these rounds.
Well, no real indication when we're going to get back into this.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's happening.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some conversation happening in the team chat. Is there anything? Yeah, so we got a technical pause going on. We don't exactly know why. I suppose some sort of bug happening. Somebody's got to reset their game. Maybe a Moss issue. The old classic issues. Could be a One Shot thing, not a Mystic thing, actually, as it seems the chat would indicate. So the coach of One Shot calling a tech pause. I'm sure it's also useful as a tech pause. You know, whoever is not busy, you know, fixing their computer, the rest of the team will be working on some sort of remedy for the issues they've been having. You know, we're seeing them, you know, 6-pick around the lobby. Obviously, some of them are active. They're probably talking about the strategy that they want to bring out next. But on the attacking side, we've seen a pretty consistent lineup from One Shot, and I think they're going to be sticking with that here as we finally get confirmation that we can head back in. So here we are, a Dorms defense now for Mystic, and One Shot's chance to get their first attacking round on the board.
There we go. Finally, we can see how Dorms goes for both of these teams. And Mystic are bringing a Vigil, not typically an operator we see at least on a Dorms defense. Vigil is normally there for you know, top floor holds for like roams on like Laundry and Meeting and such. But Splash looking to roam small tower side, it appears. I mean, maybe just rat around. The Vigil is a great ratty operator. So Splash is probably just going to be looking for early picks down there. I don't know if anyone's going to join him. If anyone does, it'll probably be either Silent or Tone. Silent just for firepower support, or Tones down there for C4. Okay, in fact, there are now 3 defenders all downstairs, with Splash and Silent looking to control small tower, even a C4 on the Showers wall as a distractionary measure. This is an odd play from Mystic.
It's a odd one, but a bold one. You have the Jaeger of Silent in position to shoot out a couple of drones as they come in. Not to, you know, actually hold that position, but just to provide... Oh, they spotted him out, didn't they? They did. Just to provide a little bit of the coverage for Splash. But they've spotted Splash. Despite that, he'll be able to get a kill. And who was that who got the other one? Tones, who got the other kill, taking down another one of these one-shot attackers. Silent will burn through Quartz, and one-shot are getting torn apart before this attack can really even begin. A shame that a strategy like this that Mystic are deploying worked against one-shot in this round, but 3 of those attackers, including one of your hard breachers, your Finka, and your entry player, Yana, they're all dead. And Kilo and Slippery have to fight this one in a 2v4 situation. You've got the Breaching Hammer, some nades, one of them, which will just barely miss the kill onto Kicks. And you've got some hard breach as well. So you've got as much as you possibly could need here in terms of utility, but you're still fighting in a 2v4.
Yeah, it's still tough for one shot here. I mean, maybe if Slippery is able to find a kill with a nade from underneath just like that, the round goes more in the attacker's favor. Now they've got a lit Kicks throw and 2 more defenders that they have to deal with. Slippery now climbs the white stairs, but Eddie prone on the table in an off position will take Slippery by surprise, leaving it all up to Kilo in a 1 versus 3. And otherwise, if he can't win this, Team Mystic will take the lead 5-4. A minute left for Kilo to play with, and 1 stun grenade remaining. If I'm not mistaken, that ADS on the trophy door just got reactivated as well. Yep, it's still up. Kilo will crouch walk his way in, take 1 fight, but get pre-fired the next, and Silent will make sure that no clutch attempt is possible. Mystic take the lead 5-4 after a perfect site rotation.
Yeah, and I think one shot will take a tack timeout now to regroup after that issue. That issue, of course, being Mystic just sprinting all over the map and taking one shot down.
Yep,
that's the kind of strategy. What was that?
3 kills.
Yeah, 3 kills. 3 separate kills. It looked like that the plan that Mystic were trying to bring would be foiled. I mean, technically it was, and the fact that the Vigil was spotted out, but during all of that, 2 kills were being able to find. The Vigil eventually popped up and ended up getting a kill, and then on the fadeaway, the person providing the cutoff on that white stairs window got fried as well. And again, that was a Jaeger who was like full sprinting back to site, then whipped out the gun and then killed the player on the white stairs window. So I suspect that one shot entering in this game, they were playing pretty loose. I imagine the comms were pretty relaxed, some shenanigans going on. But this tack timeout, it is a realization. They've realized, okay, Mystic are trying to win this. It's not going to be free. We've got to put in some effort and take this a little bit more seriously. And that's why they're going to talk about it for this 60 seconds. Now that their timeout is over, they got to come back and they've got to take a couple of rounds in a row here because Mystic have yet to lose a defensive round, and now they have the lead.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that one shot have not won a single attack is definitely odd, again, considering their recent performance on Oregon. But, I mean, we saw the same thing from Mystic, I think, in the game against Gasher's Goons, where they'd be down a few rounds, and then out of nowhere, have some kind of resurgence. Fighting from behind. So I don't know if like Mystic power up when they're at a disadvantageous half or whatever, but one shot have got to get their act together. It's going to be a laundry defense next for Mystic. Last time one shot tried to attack this, they got bogged down in freezer and stumped. They got heavily stalled out, and hopefully for their sake, I mean, the play might just be to go for a normal pillars take at this point if it's going to take you that long to clear just freezer.
Maybe bring the Ying. That's something we saw that Mystic did, and it worked pretty well for them, at least to remedy that specific issue of clearing out one position that they can't quite get a hold of any other way. But just based on looking at this attacker lineup as we get back into the game here, it does not seem that one shot will be bringing out the Ying just yet. No 6-pick in sight either, maybe from Kilo. And there it is. Okay. So you predicted it, Harrison. I think we both predicted that one nicely, that they need to adjust their utility game, and the Ying can help them in that endeavor.
Yeah, I like the Ying pick, again, as, you know, that wedge that we always talk about, that sticks herself right in the middle of pillar, right in the bunker, maybe even in elbow, depending on where you're taking. And leaving only the Maverick up means that this is probably going to be pretty direct downstairs, so that you're not going to have, like, you're not going to have E-Box open. It's probably going to be straight through bunker, I would have to imagine, unless they want to wait for Quartz to open E-Box. I mean, that's also very possible too, but we'll have to see. With the barrel shield employed as well, you're going to need a lot of utility sent over towards that direction, unless the Candelas can, stop short of that doorway before detonating, because otherwise, if they roll right through, they're going to get burned by an ADS. That's very obvious, but again, hopefully One Shot are able to avoid all those anti-projectiles with that Ying, and actually, they're not bringing smokes. The Ying has hard breach charges, so take what I said back. They're not going to have to wait for that Maverick to completely torch the hatch. They can just pop that can opener on it and drop.
Before all that happens, One Shot do need to enter the building, and in the previous round, that was a much taller task than it normally is, because Team Mystic were running with a very curious and aggressive roam, but this time, Mystic are not playing with that aggression. One Shot are still taking their time, though. They do want to drone out every corner of this map, seeing how the Vigil was trying to just crouch in a corner and hide last time. They're going to try to cover every inch of the map before they enter it. And I believe they've covered every inch of this top floor, other than, of course, T3. Can't really get a drone up there from down below. You could rappel on a window and throw one in, maybe try to hop one up the ladder, but I don't believe you're going to spot out Eddie with a drone. You're actually going to have to get somebody in that position. If you're not careful, though, you could pop up and just go for some brutal flank when this tower presence does begin.
And it looks like One Shot don't have any info on it. So I would not be surprised if Eddie ends up getting one, maybe even 2 kills, maybe even winning the round for his team from that position if it gets down to it. But he's finally let some shots go to the windows. Maybe that's clued the attack in, but Kilo will get an opener onto Tones. I'm not even quite sure from where. Splash is the next to fall. And now the Goyo, well, he's going to make this flank count. You can see the attackers starting to rappel upstairs now that they know Eddie is here. And One Shot are starting this attack off way better than any of their previous.
Way better. And now they've got a couple of nades, and every single attacker looking towards Eddie. Once he was discovered, One Shot just collapsed upon him. That right there felt a lot more like the team we saw in the closed qualifiers than we have seen so far tonight. One Shot, that was a nice effort. They're still, I mean, obviously it's not over yet. It's a 5v2, but the way they just pivoted to take care of that T3 player, the confidence with which they moved and took him down, that was a refreshing sight to see for this evening. 45 seconds left for Kixro and Silent to hold down this site. They've got still the deployable shields and your Jaeger and your Ramai. Naturally, these 2 operators are remaining, and they still have the ability to burn a lot of this utility that One Shot are bringing into the mix. But now that Kilo's Candelas are going to go out successfully, Slippery knows it's his time to step up from behind. He'll swing in from Freezer, takes down Kixro. Quartz will snip in from behind as well and take down Silent, and there you have it, a flawless round. After One Shot, take the timeout, talk things over, they recover beautifully.
Not only did they talk things over, but it looked like maybe the defense got a little too active. I don't know how the smoke died from Kilo. Okay, the previous time we saw this being defended, Tones was kind of playing close on the barricade. Maybe Kilo used, that default angle down laundry stairs from above to kill him. I think it was... Oh, who got the second kill? It was like Storms or Swaylin, I feel like. Either way, got him. Eddie let his presence be known. I don't know if someone threw a drone up there or if he just started shooting barricades, but either way, he let his presence be known. And One Shot immediately pivoted. They were like, oh crap, there's a guy in T3. And it seemed like every single one of their resources was swapped and dedicated to clearing that guy out. And Eddie couldn't get away with anything. He got immediately dusted. Then, well, they start to open bunker. One Shot have that Ying at their disposal. They start Candelaing through. The Wamai is distracted, allowing for Slippery to crouch walk his way through Freezer. And while Silent was stuck in elbow, not an enviable position at all. So well done to One Shot. We're tied up once again, 5-5, as Mystic go for a retry of Laundry with much the same operator lineup against One Shot's Ying once more.
Yeah, Kilo bringing out the exact same counter for this basement hold that they did in the previous round. Of course, seeing how well that worked, why not run it again? To be fair, it's not, excuse me, it's not like the Ying did all that much. It really was. The rest of the clear that was neat and tidy. By the time we saw the first Candela actually detonated, the round had already pretty much been won. So I expect the Kilo maybe hoping for a chance to actually use that amount of utility this time around. The story, though, for the entry is the same for One Shot, being quite careful. Not only do they know of the Vigil who was ratting in the corner, they know that Eddie was ratting in T3, they know that Mystic liked to rat. And so they're going to check every corner before they walk in. Thankfully, though, this time, Mystic are all back on the site. No one in T3, no one in Small Tower. Eddie himself is over in Harry Potter right now, waiting for One Shot to make the first move. So with that, 60 seconds in, One Shot now have map control, and now they're opening up the hatches, a much smoother attack than the previous few rounds.
Yeah, Mystic aren't overexposing themselves this time. No easy bodies for One Shot to catch as Quartz now opens the last of the remaining 3 hatches. Again, agency where Kilo puts his Candelas now. If Mystic aren't going to aggressively challenge, maybe One Shot, get in there earlier, or maybe more of this round relies on the execute. Eddie not in T3 of Tower, instead over by barrels behind his shield. Quartz rotating over to where Kilo is. Perhaps we see a laundry rush with this Ying. I mean, she doesn't have any smoke, so they're going to heavily rely on her Candelas. There's presence in Freezer as well. And while One Shot got very stuck on this area of the map last time, perhaps the Ying is what gets them through much quicker. Tones is still playing Inshallah. This was the main position that caused so much trouble. Him duoing with kicks here, holding the Freezer cross was very tough for One Shot to try and get through. And both of Slippery's nades have been absorbed. Storms and Quartz, the only one with nades left is Swaylin. Curiously enough, is bringing flashbangs. In comes the first Candela, but doesn't appear there's any capitalization off of it.
Yeah, really just hoping to burn utility, I guess, and now they know at least where they've got one opening. But speaking of, they haven't even opened bunker yet. I think Swaylin is hoping for a bit of a surprise here. Popping this with a Gone 6 could be that surprise for Eddie, but they're going to walk in, fail to clear their corner, and they both will get absolutely fried. A double kill for Eddie. Kilo now has to make something happen, but is unable to do so. Storm's now last alive with 20 seconds, has to find 3 defenders. Kick throw is lit, but Tones and Silent are both full HP. Diffuser now recovered, but simply out of time. Storms needs to hunt for these kills and is not getting active enough to get the job done in time. Hasn't even seen a single defender. The only one he'll see is the bullet or 2 from Silent that just grazed by his head in those last few seconds before he dies. A great defense from Mystic locking down the site, and they are 1 round away from taking Oregon out of One Shot's hands.
So despite it being, I guess, maybe, earlier initially from the Candela, it didn't really do much at all. I mean, the Ying, not a lot coming off of those Candelas. The quick push through bunker, not adequately droned out beforehand, clearly, because they had no idea Eddie was there, and Swaylin was unable to find the trade. I mean, that was woeful when it came down to it. But I mean, Mystic hold on fervently. Not getting active there was definitely the play. Force One Shot to come to you. And so far, all these rounds that One Shot haven't been given free picks, Mystic have won.
That last round, I'd say, is probably the most impressive from Mystic yet. And mostly because on the defensive side, that is the one round they played it as disciplined as we've ever seen. I mean, they did not go for a single early fight. They just sat downstairs waiting for One Shot to push in, and when One Shot were unable to do so, Mystic took perfect advantage of the situation, namely Eddie, who was just once again ratting in a corner, and One Shot did not clear that position, opting to open up that barricade at the last second and go for a sprint play to catch Mystic off guard. But in fact, because they hadn't opened the barricade earlier, that gave Eddie the ability to freely rotate into that corner, which actually ended up catching One Shot off guard instead of the other way around. So here we are, sitting on match point for Mystic. They can take Oregon here, sending One Shot into an uncomfortable situation. Not the first time, or rather the first time we've said that here in SCS in quite some time, at least since One Shot lost in that grand final to Surf, now Wichita Wolves Academy. But Mystics seem to be doing a number on one shot right now, and they really have to find something on this attack because it just has not been clicking.
Yeah, it's been weird for one shot so far, but they're going to start to mount an armory-sided push, of course. Slippery on the rappel, players going up towards Master and such. Swaylin now looking to duo with Storms on the downstairs clear, but Splash simply runs out of garage. Sorry, not garage. Runs out of tower and catches Slippery on rappel. That is absolutely not the start that one shot wanted.
No, it is not. Without Slippery and without those nades, pushing this site is going to be a pain. Now without Storms and without even another set of nades, it's going to be very hard to get anything done in a reasonable amount of time. Swaylin will get a kill back onto the will remove a C4 from play, but only 3 of these attackers remain. And they have to fight against 4 of these defenders. And with a minute 20, a good bit of time remaining, but one shot are running out of options here. And if one of them ends up dying to Eddie here, I mean, that would be even more brutal because they know exactly where he is. Kilo tries to go for the pre-fryer, and there's just no excuse for that.
I can't believe...
They knew where he was, Harrison. They knew where he was.
They had a hard ping on him. Now 2 nearly line up for Swaylin there as he cuts down Silent. Court's able to get the refrag onto the Cade. Kicks very lit up as well. This just became doable for one shot. All they got to do is make sure Splash can't make anything happen. Swaylin now deviating from Big Window, it looks like. Maybe rotating up to Quartz. Splash holding on to Big Window from below, but Swaylin's coming from his white. Finka maybe looking to just hop in. Gas canister goes out. Swaylin being very cautious about this, as he should. Maybe waiting for a boost to recharge before he sends it. Kicks delaying this push for as long as possible. Up goes flashbangs from Swaylin. In comes the boost, and he's going to try and make his way up white. Slash no longer holding the long angle will allow the Maverick to start to move in and get this plant down. Brilliant flick from Swaylin. Wow, dusting that player, and Kicks is so low, all Quartz has to do is land a single shot, and one shot clutch it up. A 2v4 for Quartz and Swaylin to bring us to OT.
Wow, match point dangled in front of their face, and one shot just barely swatted away in time. I mean, that was...
Oh my god.
God, that one just rips the soul out, and you just get it stuffed back in the end. You're just like, wow, one shot. They lost two opening engagements. They lost 2 sets of nades instantaneously and find a way to bring it back. They lose, what was it? Kixro swings Eddie. They've got a hard ping on the Kaid, and they just can't win the fight. So many examples of one shot just not doing their job. And somehow they managed to pull out the round. Props to them for winning that one, but good lord, it was messy. They're here on overtime, and strangely enough, actually not strangely enough, Mystic is their map pick, so they get to pick overtime besides, and not surprisingly, I suppose, they pick defense, and so now one shot need to find some serious defensive, rather offensive success if they want to win this one here.
Yeah, it's 2-4-2 halves for the defense, and one shot are starting out on the disadvantageous side. We're going to Laundry, a site that they have not successfully attacked once. Not a single time. It's 2-0 right now for Mystic on this particular bomb site. And they're still bringing that same operator lineup. Still with the Goyo. Still with both the Jaeger and the Wamai. The Cade on the hatches. And one shot, well, they swapped off Finka. We're not bringing Ying. Instead, we have Twitch. So if Swaylin's drones can get in the bomb site, they can deal with a lot of good utility, maybe even those Goyo shields. But otherwise, you know, losing that Finka, you better hope and pray you got a lot of stock out of that Twitch.
I mean, Swaylin's gotten a good bit of frags so far, and of course the F2 can help in that endeavor. As I'm sure everyone knows, is a very formidable weapon in a situation like this, but sneaking that Twitch drone into the basement and dealing with that utility, that is not the easiest thing to do. Nade comes in from Storms, but does not get all the way down the stairs to deal with Eddie. If there was Barb on the stairs, though, I believe it dealt with that pretty swiftly if Silent placed his Barb there. So now Swaylin will send his regular drone down there. No, the barb is actually still up. So bit of utility that will still have to be used for one shot. But that drone coming in will spot out Eddie, as he will spot out that drone before relocating out of Harry Potter. But this rest of this one-shot attack, it is, 10 seconds slower than it was last time, but at a similar pace. The one, of course, bonus is that you've downed Tones, but Kixro still in play, actually re-swings and takes down Slippery with him. So a 1-for-1, but losing a sledge for a smoke does generally favor the attacking side on a basement bomb site that the breaching hammer doesn't usually come into effect that much on.
Yeah, that's nades gone, but you still have a set from Storms and Quartz. 3 in total. Slippery, I guess, accidentally switched weapons, and that was the cause of his death. That's a little bit unfortunate there, but we'll see if One Shot can scrape together this push. I'm worried if they go Laundry and Freezer again, but they'll be opening E-Box here, as well as exposing the barrel's door. Eddie's still tucked in the corner. I'm not quite sure if he's been spotted out, but the Hibana will ensure that at the very least, he can't be in Harry Potter. We're now sub 1 minute. In comes another drone from Storms. Maybe actually just a bait? I heard him swap to it. Maybe trying to get Eddie to peek up. Now baiting with the clone, but the Goyo is staying stalwart. Not falling for the tricks of this Iana. Storm's unable to make any progress, but Quartz with an incredible nade down on the kick. Silent, though, trades, ensuring there's no advantage for One Shot just yet, but Eddie swings out and loses to Storms. Kilo is pushed all the way down Laundry. Swaylin will get one with the F2, and Silence in a 1v3. If anyone on the squad is gonna do it, it's him, but Kilo will dust him and ensure that One Shot will find attacking success in the first round of overtime.
And that very well may have put them over the edge. A dagger to the hearts of Team Mystic and fans of Mystic everywhere, because they were so close. They were so damn close. They had match point, map point in regulation, but here in overtime, it is a different story. It is One Shot to get the first match point opportunity, and now with the ability, of course, to play that defensive side, pulling out the Warden again, heading down to the basement, with hopes of locking this one down. And that first round, they went to basement. The first round of the entire series, they go to basement, they bring the Warden, and they find a tremendous amount of success with Mystic not even having a shot. But they will do away with the Warden, which is something that Kilo will certainly regret, because Tones is switching off to the Blitz. Maybe a bit of a bunker rush is what we've got concocting from the Mystic attack.
A bunker rush would certainly be interesting, and we've seen it before. We've seen it before. Once overtime hits, Silent Ends decides to bring the Blackbeard. And, well, it's worked for him. I'm a little worried. I imagine this is going to be a blitz combo. A blitz rush. Yeah, maybe the Blackbeard hiding behind that blitz. This is... all right. I'm excited for this attack from Mystic. We'll see if One Shot is able to deal with it. I mean, they have plenty of stopping power. They have the shields, they have the gas canisters, C4 from Kilo, but unless all of that is on point, and unless all of that is early enough, Mystic might be able to blow right through it.
We'll see. One Shot needs to get back to this site quickly, because this rush is not going to waste any time. Tones is already in the mix, but no way! He goes down to a shotgun. Silent is able to get one as the Blackbeard taking down Kilo, who swung from that barrel's door, I believe, but a dramatic turn of events as Tones gets slapped by Swaylin playing elbow. How does that happen?
Your blitz was alone! You have to have someone next to him. Otherwise, a blitz in a 1v1 like that, sure. It's hard to fight a blitz in a 1v1. But from behind a shield where the defender has a shotgun, if the blitz is exposing himself ADS like that, that's a hard fight to win unless you're hitting your first couple pistol shots. Tones goes down. Now again, Kilo has been traded, so it's not the end of the world here for Mystic. Elbow has been fully reinforced, so as long as Kick still has hard breach after he opens up all these hatches and whatever else he needs to, they can still establish that crossfire, but they've lost that Maverick. In comes Eddie now, knowing that bunker is ripe for the taking. Okay. They went 1-for-1. At the very least, they did end up taking Elbow, so maybe it's not the end of the world.
I mean, they've got this control so early in the round. I mean, rarely do we see like attacking teams in pillar pressuring onto this attack so early on, but losing your Blackbeard now to a headshot. Ironically enough, not a great recipe for success further on, though. Kicks opens up the elbow side of things with some hard breach, and despite the X-Kairos making the most obvious sound cue and visual cue in the world, Storms gets caught out completely unaware. We are returned to an even 3v3. Eddie's still looking down this long haul, but these defenders have since backed on off, playing more passive in freezer or over in closet, including one player, Slippery, going for a full-fledged flank. Splash getting this plant down so Slippery, he's got to step up or maintain this angle so that when Splash gets off the diffuser, he can get that kill, but he fails to step up in the right moment. Quartz gets one, though, onto Splash anyway, so it's Kickthrow and Eddie, the last two staying alive in this post plant. Swaylin dusts Eddie. Kickthrow, last player standing here in elbow, and he is done for. Slippery from above will drop down, take care of the Habana, and one shot will just barely take Oregon out of Mystic's hands. That's Mystic's map pick. They were unable to win, and one shot, despite the disaster of a start to this game, they recover it and take the win.
That was a close one for one shot, but at the end of the day, still take it in overtime. After that timeout, they looked markedly better. Heads up to, credits, I guess, to the coach of Chapped Penguin Lips, aka Jared, my very good friend, for turning that team around. He was DMing me. He was saying, this team is not the team I know, but after the timeout, he was saying, comms were back on point, vibes were high once again, and well, you guys will see it once we get back from the break, but all 5 players from one shot, and this is the thing too, this is how even this team was. Whereas Mystic had very obvious standout performers, every single person on one shot had double-digit frags.
Wow, that's the depth. I mean, we did talk about the depth coming in, that this roster, everybody can step up. If somebody is not performing up to snuff, somebody is gonna also got their back, or in this case, nobody is necessarily not performing. Nobody is outperforming. Everyone is contributing in a big way. So I know that one definitely threw my heart through a loop, an emotional roller coaster. Something after something like that, I've got to sit down, take a breather. Harrison, you know where I'm going with this.
I do.
Because I've got to sit myself down in a Mavix gaming chair. You know it. I know it. Mavix gaming chairs know it because they are freaking amazing. The new M4 gaming chair from Mavix, as low as $22.22 a month. Mavix gaming chairs, they are so damn nice, but hey, they're a little expensive, so you can finance it for a nice low price. They cost you as much as, door-dashing a meal. There you go, affordable. You can buy it now at mavix.com/NerdStreetGamers. And on top of all of that, you can also get your own NSG discount, $55 off with the code NSG55. If the N4 gaming chair is not for you, they've got all sorts of models with all sorts of add-ons. We've talked about the air conditioning add-on, the heater add-on, whatever fits your fancy. They've got something for you over at mavix.com/NerdStreetGamers. So check them out during this break. When we come back, we've got Map 2 Cafe, one-shot territory where Mystic will be fighting for their playoff lives.
Have to get aggressive. Breach looking for it, and Hill got it.
Have to push for the kill. Have to kill the Malinsky.
Transfers on 1-3. What a passion! It's high noon. There's the 1v2 and 5-1-half for serve.
Welcome to the NerdStreet Winter Championships, featuring SCS6, a yearly open tournament series hosting the best players and teams North America has to offer, culminating in a community favorite, the Pro-Am. So let's discuss format. During the Winter Champs season, SCS6 will consist of 2 stages, where each stage begins with 2 open qualifiers. Once Stage 1 is complete, there will be an additional tournament offering one more qualification spot prior to Stage 2. Through participating in SCS6, players will acquire leaderboard points and cash prizing. The winning teams from Stage 1 and 2, as well as the additional tournament, will qualify for the Pro-Am. The top 2 teams from the leaderboard will also qualify. As we approach the end of the season, the final qualification spot will be determined through a last chance qualifier. The Grand Finals of the Winter Champs SCS6 will feature the return of the Pro-Am, where the top amateur teams have an opportunity to define their talent against the North American Pro League. But in the end, only one team will be crowned Winter Champs. Sign up today and make history.
Have to get aggressive. Breeze looking for it, and Hill got it.
Have to push for the kill. Have to kill the Maluski.
Transfers on 1-3. What a passion! It's high noon. There's the 1v2 and 5-1/2 for serve.
Now you may be wondering, what the heck did we just watch? Now that's a great question, because we don't know either. Map 1 in this series was peculiar. One shot, down bad, you could say. Struggling immensely to do some basic things. Mystic, fantastic job of exploiting those things initially, Harrison, but then one shot, they made a little comeback happen.
They did. After they took the time out, they looked tremendous. Of course, I'm not going to go into detail, but Jared, their coach, told me that there was some personal stuff happening with some of the players that was resulting them in not having the energy. But after the timeout, they were given some motivation, and they looked like a brand new team, especially in the beginning. Okay, so in the beginning of the game, right? Their defense is pretty solid. Turning onto their attack, though, it looked like all the energy just dissipated. It was gone. They did not look good, and Mystic were taking full advantage of it, running around the map, getting in their faces, and ensuring that One Shot had absolutely zero room to breathe. But that timeout really working wonders, kind of grounding One Shot once more, pushing them to overtime, and taking overtime flawlessly at 2-0 to win 8-6. The last round with a blitz rush and a Blackbeard. Not working out for Mystic, and that was their map pick. Now we head on to Cafe, a map that One Shot have played twice and dropped a total of 2 rounds on. They also played this against TSM and took 4 rounds off of them.
Yeah, an impressive performance from them against TSM, of course. And we can just take a quick look at our stats. From our last game, it was obviously a mixed bag, but as we highlighted before we went to break, everyone on One Shot. Take a look at that. Double digits from everybody. That is not something you see very often, or almost ever. Everyone, double digits, everyone, although borderline in some cases, going positive. A beautiful comeback performance. Everyone starting to contribute. Swaylin +6 in terms of that KD, +3 on the entry. Slippery did not have as good of a time on the entry game, but overall, with Kilo contributing, getting a lot of frags, getting a plant down, it really was a game that slipped away from One Shot initially, but they did a nice job spreading the wealth, working together, and making that comeback happen. On the Mystic side of things, of course, it was Silent, the player we did highlight coming into the night, at the top in terms of rating. Eddie also dropping 13 kills. Impressive performance from him as well, but that just wasn't quite enough to put them over the edge. The rest of those players just did not all drop double digits like One Shot did.
Yeah, One Shot were working much better as a full cohesive unit. That's something we see from Mystic sometimes, and something we even see from Chess Club, is that sometimes the team is very individualistic with their roams and with their aggression, and when you're up against a team like One Shot who are really good at refragging each other, sometimes it doesn't work out, and especially, you know, we were missing that a lot on Oregon, but now that One Shot, you know, they looked far better in the latter half of their attacking phase, way better in overtime. I think their, you know, their energy woes have been solved. Now that we head into Cafe, their home turf, not only have they taken the 7-1 twice in SCS, they took 4 rounds on this map off TSM, and they beat Mirage 7-2. They stomped them here. It was a little bit worrying for Mystic now, unless they can pull out some incredible Cafe that we've never seen before. It's going to be a Flores and a Thatcher ban first off, though. Very standard bans. I mean, the exact same bans that we saw just prior. Mira as well. Only last time it was Mystic who banned Mira. Now it's going to be One Shot. I imagine Mystic are probably going to ban Valkyrie. You don't want to leave her up on Cafe. She is just way too strong.
She's going to be taken off the board, of course, and our standard 4 bans are now completed. The Flora, the Thatcher, the Mira, the Valkyrie, everything that we've come to expect in recent weeks. As far as the side choice goes, Mystic will naturally be electing to defend. Not sure if they know, though, that we had the pleasure of casting this game, and I could flip back in my notes for it, but wasn't it a 6-0 or a 5-1 attacking half for one shot over Mirage? I feel like it was attack where they thrive.
Yes.
And it was
6-0.
It was 6-0. Absolutely mind-boggling to just say that aloud and to cast that. But 6-0, one shot over Mirage on the attacking side. So Mystic should be afraid. I'd be afraid if I was them. And they need to really come out swinging on the defense. Honestly, if I'm them, I would throw out some of those rat plays like we saw them bring out on that first map. I honestly go full force deploying them right away because they might need it.
Yeah, I had a message to send to Mystic. It would be afraid. Be very afraid. Kitchen will be the first site that one shot are tasked with attacking. Still got Swaylin on the F2. Slippery back on the Finka. Storms is now donning the sledge rather than Iana, and Quartz is on Ash. We have one hard breacher. One support player currently for one shot, though, you know, we do see sometimes kind of like a flank watch Ash, but Quartz does play rather aggressively on Cafe, so I imagine we'll see a very similar theme here. Team Mystic are roaming. They do have a couple players seated upstairs. It's both the Jaeger and the Mute of Eddie. Splash and Eddie looking to put some damage down. What a run out, but no, he whiffs. And another! What?
There it is.
What?
I mean, I did say it's time to just do dumb stuff. And that right there, if you take a look in the dictionary and you look under dumb stuff, that right there would fall right under the dumb stuff label. Of course, a good attempt. There's no question. I mean, Eddie had like 5 seconds. 5 seconds of headway on both of the players that he could have killed 2 people. That he had ample time to, honestly, he could have jumped out the window and just not sprayed. He could have took his time, lined up the headshot, and gotten the kill. Unfortunately, you just see so many bodies. You just want those kills. Got a little bit over eager and missed the shots, but one shot did not miss the bullets like Eddie did. And then Tones tried to come back in with a nice little jump out. It looked like Splash also wanted a bit of a jump out. He will also get put straight into the dirt. Silent will successfully get a kill onto Slippery, but now it's a 4v2 favoring one shot. All 3 Mystic deaths have been outside the building.
Yeah. Whereas both one-shot deaths have been inside the building. As Kilo gets laid out, that leaves it Swaylin, Storms, and Quartz in a 3 versus 2 against 3 gas canisters and a C4, the first of which Kicks will start sending out towards the main breach. Looks like Quartz is looking to establish some vertical destruction as he opens up the floor, but there's nothing for him to find just yet. Of course, he still has breaching charges as well, so plenty of opportunities for him to find the smoke of Kicks, who's still seated behind a shield. Still got nades from Quartz as well. He's proned in, collected that diffuser, and Quartz rotates downwards to open the rest of prep. He does not have any more breaching rounds, so he can't do away with that shield. He'll finally open the wall and make his stake in prep. He just saw the smoke. He just saw like the tip of the head or maybe the shoulder, but is unable to get the kill as Kicks gasses himself off, curiously enough. Kicks now taking damage, forced back even further behind this shield. Swaylin looking to cut off the crossfire, but it might not be needed as Quartz finally gets the smoke. Silence alone in a 1 versus 3. Storm's getting that plant down with nothing the Cade can say about it. Now extremely lit up, Quartz finishes him off through the smoke. It's a 3K for the Ash, 2 for the Twitch, and the first round for one shot.
Yeah, one shot will take that round. Of course, we all know why. Mystic, they really gave it the good old college try outside the building. Tried to just jump out, and then jump out again. Pretty good gap between the second and third jump outs, but you get the point. One shot, they were very on top of it in terms of being aware that Mystic needed to play aggressive, that they would play aggressive, that they would play pretty crazy, and impressive that even Quartz was aware that somebody would come jumping out that mining hall window just from a red stair landing, just popped out, tried to get a kill onto the Ash. who ended up getting those final 2 kills as well. So, you know, had that gone the other way, had that gone Silent's way, we could have seen a very different story. But of course, One Shot winning all of those engagements, and Mystic falling by the wayside. And a solid attempt down on the kitchen site, and a surprising amount of aggression for a site like that. We didn't even see much of a roam because those players were too concerned with jumping outside of the building. But now they're going to head upstairs and try to maybe play a little bit more passive, or just at least hold down the site.
It'll be funny we see 2 runouts again.
I mean, that'd be great.
Just over and over again. We'll see a Judgment Day cafe. Or sorry, Judgment Day Villa, but on cafe. There are plenty of shields for the defense to play behind. You know, 1 in Pixel, 1 in Bathroom. One Shot do have, again, a decent amount of utility. If Swaylen can sneak in those Twitch drones, he can perhaps shoot the Goyo shields. That's something that Team Mystic is going to have to worry about. And by the way, Jonah, did we discuss the Pro-Am points implication of this game?
We did not. Why don't you go ahead and give us the breakdown?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is a very distinct possibility that Aerial Arise Academy, a fan favorite in our 2 stages, might make Pro-Am. All that needs to happen is for One Shot to win this game. Not only will One Shot send themselves to the semifinals against Wichita Wolves Academy, but due to point standings, it will also guarantee Aerial Arise Academy a spot at the Pro-Am. So, if you're a fan of One Shot, if you're also a fan of Aerial Arise Academy, now even more reason to vote for them. But if Mystic win, you know, they still have a chance. So, we will have to see if you're and again, if you're a fan of Mystic, now you have even more reason to root for Mystic. But of course, you know, we got to get through Cafe first. One Shots, obviously starting with the piano utility clear. 2 players on the rappel. Unlike last map, we have Finka with nades rather than Finka with stuns. And already, I believe that was the Pixel Shield now dealt away with by the attack.
Yeah, pretty good pace. Getting that shield dealt with, forcing that defender back. He really only moved back into Bathroom. No, actually,
this shield is... freezer shield? That was the freezer shield.
Yeah, freeze is totally still up. The freezer shield is the one that's gone. You have a Pixel shield and a Bathroom shield still to worry about if you're One Shot. And to get around it, they're trying to play with some sort of, you know, second floor presence, maybe some crouch walking and reading room to help you out, but you gotta be wary of the player from below. Splash going for quite a flank all the way up the brown stairs. I mean, the route back to site will probably take him straight through reading. Maybe he'll head back towards red stairs. C4, that is not close, but it will be pre-placed once those players work their way towards the new Val. Quartz actually gets that first kill onto Splash, so that C4 will not matter as the mute is taken down before he can expend it. Finally, with only 50 seconds left, the Vulcan shield on Pixel, the deployable shield in Bathroom have been dealt with. So One Shot have finally burned this utility. Still a lot of work to do. Perfect nade from Storms says goodnight to Tones.
Wonderful toss by Storms. Quartz down below as well with that sneaky coverage. Able to catch Splash before that C4 goes off. Finkaboos goes in, overhealing the One Shot members as gas canisters continue to meet them in Cigar, but there's still a Finka now inside a Bathroom, pushing up pallets, catches one. No, that's actually Quartz with the first kill. Quartz with another, a triple, stealing it all away from the Finka, leaving it up to Kicks, stuck in deep freezer. Kilo gets the last one, and One Shot win their bar attack flawlessly. A big 3K from Quartz.
This is more the One Shot we know. This is what they look like on Cafe. It's why Mirage couldn't win a single defensive round and why Mystic are going to have a very hard time in doing so. 2 rounds in, the first one with a big fat asterisk, of course, but the second one, Mystic did try to defend as long as they could, as standard as they could. Maybe throwing in the flank from Splash was a little bit unusual, but aside from that, strong defensive hold. And I'm going to be honest, I was surprised that it took One Shot so long to clear out the utility. Mystic had done a fantastic job setting up the freezer shield, Bathroom shield, Pixel shield, a pretty typical utility-focused hold, all facing piano. Worked wonders in terms of the time delay. And One Shot, it took them 2 minutes and 15 seconds to deal with all of those shields, but once One Shot had the shields done, they had the intel they needed, and nade killed the Wamai, then White Hall is available, then they just push up and take gunfights and win them. That is why One Shot are so scary on this map. Even if it may take them a long time to do this. If a defense counters them nicely in one regard, then they just storm their way back in the site and take you by surprise from elsewhere. And that's exactly what they were able to do, pushing up Long Bar into Freezer from New Belk, from the White Hall, all at once. Mystic didn't really stand a chance there, but now they're going to head back to Kitchen and hope that maybe this site defended more, you know, normally. Could be some success for them.
Yeah, who knows? Well, now we get to actually see how Mystic want to defend this. They will be roaming once again, of course. You know, that was absolutely part of the initial strategy. So Eddie and Splash, we will see once again upstairs. Tones, the Wamai, well, he is the Wamai, so he could roam if he really wanted to, but typically he'd play closer to the site. He's actually going all the way up to that top floor, curiously enough. As he's sending shots out the window, though, one shot, you know, Quartz looking up, likely now confirming and calling out to his team that there is someone on the top floor. Kilo already going to go ahead and open prep as he and Finka take into Big Big.
Splash's role here is going to be extremely important. He's got to keep a weather eye on the vertical holes facing down towards prep, because one shot, if they identify that there is an opening, you never know. They could just walk on in. They will pivot, though, and not go for a bakery direct just yet. There are 3 players here, but there also are 2 players working down for a little bit of a full map clear at the same time. Their goal, of course, top floor, really doesn't matter, but that second floor over by Mining and Train, that is where the real action is going to happen. That's why Tones is here to support that clear, or rather to deny that clear, to support Splash, who is holding down Train at the moment. But the one thing he's not holding are these holes into prep. Once this big bakery wall is open, theoretically, we could see Slippery do what he does best and just walk into prep, because Splash has gotta be careful that an opportunity doesn't arise for one shot, because when they have a chance, they often just pounce.
We'll continue to drone out this first floor, soon spotting out Splash, I would have to assume. Yeah, you just saw the tip of the Jaeger's head there. Not able to get his drone all the way in dining, though. So for now, one shot only have solid info on a single player. Utility being burned, and the shield now done and dusted from in front of Kicks. No, actually, it survives. A nade gets sent through to try and clear it. Tones gets caught by Kilo, playing extremely close on a very slim breach, but still a good first frag, opening up a little bit of that site. There is a response from the defense, as Slippery is the next to fall thanks to Silence, as Gas Canister, the last one, comes out from Kicks. Now he's got no more delay. Still 2 C4s, but only 1 is downstairs. Eddie is still roaming, and one shot are not pushing the roamers. Maybe just sitting there and waiting for them, just holding them back. Kilo lands a very nice long shot, making a third through the breach. Kilo now on for 3. Splash gets 1, but Kilo with 4. Now looking for the ace. It's all left up to Splash, who is still upstairs. All they need to do is hold the cutoffs on the staircases, and this Jaeger will be able to do nothing. Watching through the floor is Storms. He'll just narrowly spot Splash. The Jaeger attempting to take the fight will land a nice one, but in the meantime, the case goes down. Swaylin now backed off to Whiskey. Kilo making sure there's no one on the hatch. No! Can't grab the ace. Unfortunate for the Hibana. Splash gets his 3rd. And now it's a 1v1 up against Swaylin. 20 seconds to get this kill and hop on the defuse. Splash is still very far away. As he continues to pre-fire, he alerts Swaylin to his location. All Swaylin needs to do is play the time. He knows he can just kind of dart around, take pot shots, and finally ends it with the pistol. One shot, take 3 attacks in a row.
Lovely pistol duel in Whiskey Bar to finish out what is otherwise a very exciting round up to that point. Pretty composed again. The defense from Mystic looked pretty solid until it didn't, right? I mean, the fact that Kilo was able to get 4 kills just from that same angle in Big Bakery is ridiculous. Not because Mystic did anything wrong, but because Kilo just crazy shots. I didn't even see some of the guys he was able to kill, and we have wall hacks. So, very well played from the Hibana, from Kilo. There is no question about that. And Splash, unfortunately, he was left out to dry, I suppose. Upstairs, didn't have an option to get back to the site easily. Was able to get a nice kill from above onto Storms, was able to then work his way around and take down Kilo, who was really hunting for that ace pretty aggressively. Probably would not have played it so aggressively had he not been on for the ace, but trusted his teammate, trusted Swaylin to hold down in a 1v1 against a Jaeger where he knew exactly where he was coming from. So Strong attack there from One Shot as always. I'm liking these attempts from Mystic, and it felt like, you know, they had a chance in that round. But again, it's One Shot dominance on the Cafe attack that is defining this map so far.
That, oh, that's round 2. I mean, Kilo. Not only was it 4 kills, those are some really nice shots, too. Especially, like, all the way through both the walls into the bomb chassis. I mean, those were beautiful from Kilo. Just going to show that he may be on the hard support, but he can still frag just as good as any. Now we're back on bar for Mystic, their second defensive round, which One Shot were able to win flawlessly. Eddie is looking for an aggressive pick, fires some shots towards Quartz' position, but none of them land, unfortunately, for the Goyo. Now Quartz a little bit more wary about those positions. Eddie might pop up. Quartz is watching this window. If this Goyo gets aggressive, his head could likely be Quartz's next victim, but we'll just play passive for now. It's just a waiting game between these two.
Yeah, Quartz knows he's there. He wants to take that fight, but Eddie is not going to pop up. He's going to stay tucked in that corner, not even going to round the corner or throw that C4 out. He'll stay passive. So Mystic learning from some of their previous round mistakes, and they will stay calm, cool, calm, and collected. So Swaylin will be continuing his role as the Twitch, and he's going to try his best to get this drone over to Pixel, but I do believe his drone's been spotted out by Tones here. He'll just try to take it out if he can, but now full blind, and here come the nades. The Vulcan shield now burned. Quickly, the shield in bathroom destroyed as well. And this is 45 seconds faster than One Shot were able to do this last time. Storm's also wants to get rid of that BP, but he's got to be careful that Tones doesn't swing him and catch him off guard. Slippery will take a bullet or 2 worth of damage, but heal himself back up with a quick stim. Tones is finished off, but Quartz, after getting that kill, will be fragged back from Eddie. And even 4v4 as we cross that minute 15 mark.
Yeah, the utility clear much better from One Shot. Thank God for Eddie as well, making sure Quartz can't get a ball rolling as he finished off Tone. So the Goyo creeping under that window, finally, you know, making some stock happen in this round. Still got the drone from Swaylin looking for any utility. I don't know if the smoke saw it. No, he didn't. So the Goyo shield goes down for free as a nade claims the life of Silent. Now man advantage here for One Shot. Kicks trapped in deep freeze until the Goyo fire dissipates. But the freezer wall is not open. The attack has not yet established that long line of sight. Splash is still watching outside the window, which allows Slippery into bathroom. Narrowly spots the Goyo, doesn't land any shots just yet. I don't know if Eddie knows he's at his side, but Kicks lands the shotgun blast. Swaylin immediately refrags, and the C4 misses, and it's 2 quick kills from One Shot. They take round 4. They are on track for the flawless half.
4 rounds in a row. 3 of them fought valiantly by Mystic, but whatever they can throw at One Shot, it's simply not enough. And sometimes it's as simple as that. You get outclassed at every turn, and there is not much you can do. So in these last 2 rounds for Mystic, it is a battle of what in the heck haven't we tried that we could try to throw a wrench into the gears of One Shot. And that very well may be just a full-fledged roam. The Alibi, the Vigil, and the Mozzie combined to form just a lethal fragging trio. But Splash will, of course, 6-pick off of the Mozzie to something of the Echo. So a more passive operator there to play for the post-plant. You still have the Alibi and the Vigil. 2 very impressive operators that are gonna likely hunt for a few frags, but considering we are on this reading and dining site, it is likely less of a roam that we're going to see and more of a top floor extension that One Shot will have to work their way through.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine Team Mystic might be getting quite aggressive once again. They also have the 8 of those yokais. Now, there are 2 ways you can play the yokai drones, of course. You know, sit them in sight static as rotary cams and wait for the plant. Or you can use it as active info for your roamers and drone out the attackers instead. Or a third option, you can be like 6 Cuts from the early days of Siege and spawn peek every round as Echo. Okay, never mind. He was just opening the window. I thought he was going to spawn peek and I got a little bit scared. Also, shout out to you if you know that reference from Millennium. Long time ago. Even maybe back to Youngtis? I might go back to year 1, actually. Wow. Why do I remember that? Splash is getting some good info, actually, in order to spawn peek, but wow! Slippery demolishes the Echo, and there go your yokais.
That's a bummer for Splash. As anticipated, Mystic really trying to pull out all the stops. And honestly, would have preferred that Kixro be the one to do that spawn peek, because, of course, you would not lose your yokai drones that are so essential for later in the round. They will lose Silent as well. The Alibi, who I suspect was trying to peek Quartz here as he opens up the white window. Quartz has been successful in getting at least 1 kill from this position every time he's been here, but this time he will have 2 kills. Double kill for Quartz. Eddie and Kixro, last 2 players standing. Kixro gets 1, quickly traded by Slippery. Eddie, last player standing, directly in Quartz's line of sight here. Unclear if Quartz knows this. Eddie could potentially lob that C4 out. Oh, we'll spot his head. A pre-fire there. It is. Quartz will take a triple kill. All from the same position because Mystic were really trying to swing him, but Quartz doesn't lose those. And one shot, they don't lose those rounds, and they don't lose Cafe. It's 5-0.
Yeah, those were Slippery's first 2 kills as well. He had not gotten a kill before that, and now 5-0 for one shot. They're doing it for Aerial Arise. I know I've been taking a peek at chat every so often, and those boys are very excited with the way that this is going so far. One shot, 1 round away from taking a flawless half. It will be on bar, but we have a timeout called from Mystic, because of course it's from Mystic. Why would one shot call a timeout at this point? They want the momentum to keep on rolling, but Mystic doing anything in their power to try and stunt it just a bit. They'll take a timeout, discuss what the hell's been going wrong. Quite frankly, their roams have been disjointed. They're not quite playing together. They're getting aggressive, peeking, and dying. And one shot, well, they simply don't get outclassed on this map very often. I mean, they beat Mirage on it. They took 4 rounds off TSM and 5 off of Parabellum. 2 other teams who love this map. They have not lost it in SCS so far. I don't know what Mystic can do here.
It is a fair question. I don't know either. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's a thinker. Mystic likely trying to think about that for 60 seconds, but their conversation may have gone something like the conversation we just had. What should we do? I've got no clue. All right, good stuff. Let's try. And that is probably what they're entering into this final round with. It's bar and cocktail. They want to head upstairs. The one thing they can say is that their utility game on this top floor has been phenomenal, at least to the degree that it can. They've had that pixel shield up, the bathroom shield, the freezer shield, and it has worked to delay quite a bit of time. But when the round transitions from that utility burn phase to the actual execute phase, that is where one shot just do not lose. That's where they have not been slowing down. They have moved through this site with so much ease. Mystic, maybe they gotta try to play for a C4 from below. They don't have a C4, so they can't do that. Maybe they should try to play for some sort of aggressive spawn peek. I suspect we'll see 1 or 2 players doing that. But when it comes down to holding down this site, it seems that they are going to rock a similar setup, at least, that they've been bringing out on several different occasions. They're going to reinforce fully the freezer wall, so no freezer shield. They're going to ditch the Goyo entirely, so no Vulcan shields. In fact, they're only going to bring 1 shield total, that of Silent on the Alibi.
So, maybe that was the plan. Maybe it was to simply get weirder and try and catch one shot even more off guard, even though nothing that Mystic has done has seemed to phase them at all. Again, I honestly don't really know what Mystic can do at this point, because they are losing in quite literally every aspect of the game, it seems like. I mean, sure, maybe they'll have a trade or 2 at the beginning of the round, but once one shot get going and we hit kind of the midpoint, it is all on them. Silent looked like he wanted to get aggressive and peek out the doorway, but he'll get spotted by the drone. Tones does get the first frag, though. The first opening kill for one shot in this entire series will go to Tones, onto Slippery.
I mean, this is a game changer right here.
It could be.
It could be a massive, massive switcheroo of the momentum. Slippery's gone. Tones wants more. He'll peek the window again, throwing out the impacts. What a toss right onto Kilo's face. He'll take quite a bit of damage for that. But now Tones, he's going to get pressured out. He'll take two more lives. A triple kill for Tones. Kilo, he'll take him down as Tones wanted more. But what a performance there from the Wamai. The very first round. Potentially Mystic could grab here. It looks all but secured at this point unless they continue to throw themselves out windows, which, again, they could, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it's Kilo and Quartz now against the world.
It is Kilo and Quartz, though. Kilo, previously 7-3, now 8-3 as he kills Splash. Quartz 10-2. Frenchie right now rocking a 5.0 KD, but they miss drone kicks. They don't check J-Desk in Cigar. And that means that could be a round ender, unless they have the wherewithal to check that themselves. In comes Quartz, but he's not looking the right direction. All Kicks has to do is stay still and wait for the perfect time to strike. Quartz is already past him. Kilo may be looking to drop Skylight. He will spot the rotate. Silent now being called out in deep freeze, but in comes Quartz inside a bathroom. Trying to pre-fire through, will not land anything, and now the defenders know that the Ash has sneaked up, but there's only 20 seconds remaining. Mystic knows that one shot are going to have to make a play. He'll catch the Alibi off guard. Good kill from Quartz, looking for another, but shooting an Alibi clone, but Kicks. No, he goes down behind J-Desk and Quartz. Another! How do one shot win that? Mystic were in prime position to finally win a goddamn round, and one shot still clutch it. Perfect half 6-0.
Quartz is a madman. And Kixro maybe actually fell asleep behind the desk. It wasn't clear. I mean, there's no other reason why he sat there for so long. Obviously, he thought he had a great position. And understandably, he did have a great position. The problem was that one shot did not push in from that cigar door. And once Quartz rotated around towards bathroom, and the moment that he pre-fired through that bathroom to freezer wall, that is when Kixro had to move. Because if he did not move, guess what? Quartz is sitting there and can then fry everybody, as he did. Kixro had to step up sooner. He had to get going quicker, and he didn't. I don't know if Quartz just happened to turn around at the right time and then see the Malusi just kind of hanging out, or there was a drone somewhere in Piano and spotted the flank. In any case, very heads-up play from Quartz to whip around and kill Kixro, and voila, you've got the 6-0 half. It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's one shot. They're amazing. Unfortunate for Mystic that the one round it looked like they were going to be able to secure just slipped away. That was a 2v4. Kilo and Quartz. Quartz, who is now 13-2. Insane. And now they go on defense. They're going to go downstairs to kitchen. This may be a swift 7-0.
No, that was a 2v5. Because remember, by the time Kilo had killed the Wamai, he already killed the two coming in from Cigar.
You're right.
That was a 2v5. That was 2 kills for Kilo to start things off. And the 3K cleanup from Quartz. I mean, tremendous work from one shot in that round. Quartz 13-2. Kilo 8-3. Meanwhile, your top frag from Mystic is a 3-way tie at 3-6. Actually, they're all 3-6-1. All right, that's kind of funny. Now, one shot are on their defense. They have, at least before Oregon, they had an 80% win rate on defense. I wouldn't be surprised if we, change that locally to Cafe if it's higher, because I mean, Cafe, they are absolute demons on this map, as Storms will get locked in place by the Lion scan. Splash now looking to drone in, but the drone is not upstairs, at least not yet. So Storms will likely get spotted out. Oh, wait. Hold on, did he not fully check? Did he not see Storms?
Tones will get the opener, so that's a good start. Kilo gets lit up and now finished here by Silent. Quartz knows there's somebody pushing in from prep. He's got to make a play here. He'll just whip out the shotgun and charge at Silent. He gets it, but Tones gets the trade. Double kill for the Finka. Now it's all up to Storms and Swaylin. Storms, turns out he had not been spotted, but that doesn't matter. Swaylin's been finished off, and now Storms has to drop back to the site and go for a miracle clutch. Kixro getting this diffuser down. Storms doesn't have much to work with, very little intel. The C4 is not even going to fly out. Here it is finally, but a pre-fire from Tones will land, and that is maybe a 3 or even 4K from Tones. A beautiful performance from the Finka, a very aggressive push from Mystic, and it pays off.
Yeah, finally, we have Mystic winning a round. All it took was a swap of the sides. So, perhaps an attacker-sided Cafe. Who knows? One shot, looking like they got caught off guard by Mystic's pure aggression in that round. And already, One shot, after a single round loss, are taking a timeout saying, okay, our momentum may be a little disrupted by Mystic, but we are going to make damn sure that Mystic can't climb back and gain the momentum for themselves. We're going to put a stop to this after just one round.
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive. It's impressive that they really want this timeout here. They really want to finish this one off. You know, Splash, you can't see chat right now, but Splash calling it out in chat. Now that's attack timeout. A smart one, of course, from One Shot. They don't want to leave anything up to chance, and so they'll be working something out about how to concoct a fun defense for this last one. Heck, a nice little 7-1. It'd be poetic. One Shot would have played Cafe 3 times in SCS so far this stage, and it would have been 3 7-1s. If they can complete it here, I suspect that's what they're looking for. The good old-fashioned Brazil before the end of the map. So we'll head back in. Appears to Bar and Cocktail for a One Shot.
We'll see if One Shot, switching up the site, if that will be enough for them to win it. And of course, if they win it, like you said, they will win it out. It'll be 3 times on Cafe, 7-1, each and every time. Of course, they are bringing the Castle, as well as the Mute and the Jaeger. They got a Wamai to boot. So what does this scream? It screams that they're probably going to be holding in Cigar. With that combination of operators, I would be surprised if they don't go there. Oh, Slippery's maybe a little bit AFK. Kilo also, spreading around his castle barricades across the top floor, making sure that, Heaven might be a little bit harder to swing into. Wamai setting up discs inside of Piano. Actually, maybe they're not setting up in Cigar.
Yeah, no, odd.
Unless it's late. But, I mean, you see this operator selection and you're like, yeah, that's a Cigar hold. Unless it's not Cigar and they just opt to hold directly inside of Piano.
I mean, Kix still has 2 of those, armored panels. Here we go. Yeah. Finally putting that one down. Storms, he's used his only shield for Pixel. So we're not seeing a shield in Cigar. Instead, it is going to be a good old-fashioned sit in the Cigar box, sit in Humidor for some kills on that Red Hats drop. Melee this castle barricade, gives yourself a quick escape if you need it. Also, you'll have the quick escape from the hatch down below if the situation becomes dire. Now, the Cigar hold, this is not something foreign to attacking teams anymore. They know how they have to deal with it. In fact, they may choose not to deal with it as Tones may be looking to play insanely aggressive. 2 grenades will already run? I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Will already get thrown through into Cocktail from that Heaven window, and Tones will find nothing with it. But a surprising amount of early aggression. The new Balcats drop comes in. Storms gets 1, Kilo a second, but 2 trades right back. Sight control firmly in the hand of Mystic. Kickstro getting this bomb down. Quartz throws a C4 out. It will deny the plant. Splash, though, gets a trade. Quartz will down Eddie. Actually, somebody downs Eddie. Quartz will finish him off, and it is all up to Splash here. He'll get the long angle from Slippery to finish him off, and the chaos of the last round is confusing as it was. We know who our victor is. One Shot. They will complete the Brazil, the 7-1. 2 other times they've done this, a third 7-1 here on Cafe. They will be the team advancing to the quarterfinals. That also means Aerial Arise Academy, thanks to points totals, we'll be going to the Pro-Am.
Congratulations to One Shot for keeping their 7-1 record alive. Congrats to Quartz for going, what was that? 16 and 4 or something? 16 and 3? Something
ridiculous.
Like that?
It was ridiculous. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah, wait. Because he was 13 and 2 before they lost on or 14 and 3 before they lost on Kitchen. And then they went up to Bar. And he lived. So yeah, 16 and 3. from Quartz. That is a 5 point, or well, I'm not going to do decimal because it's repeating. 5 1/3 KD. That's tremendous. So congratulations, One Shot. Congratulations, Quartz, for being on a heater. And congratulations, Ariel Arise Academy. Your fate was out of your hands in One Shots, and they did not let you down. We have another team now confirmed for the Pro-Am. It's Storms and Quartz looking out for their fellow Frenchie of Hypers. But, I mean, having a triple 7-1 record on this map, are people going to learn to stop taking them to Cafe, please?
I mean, Mystic could go for the bank ban instead of the cafe ban, which is one of the bigger oversights you're ever going to see. Just maybe not paying attention to how dominant One Shot have been.
Maybe they hate bank
right, they hate it
more
that bad
than One Shot is good at Cafe.
Did they forget that Mirage couldn't get a single defensive round against them on Cafe? I mean, they had to have. They had to have forgotten that. There's just no way. We're all just making stuff up at this point because it was a very valiant effort from Mystic. They did try to get those defensive rounds in, and they just could not stop One Shot from rolling through. Oregon was a nail biter though. That one really came down to the wire. You know, we don't usually see Oregon's that intense in the end, but it really was. But One Shot managing to squeak that one out. Otherwise, we'd be here for another 45 minutes. We'd be going to Chalet, and
we'd be going to 1 a.m.
Going to 1 a.m. seeing One Shot probably win Chalet in the end, but nearly gave us quite the fight.
Yeah, I mean, One Shot still come away with the victory, and we have an interview. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Beast himself, the resident Frenchie. Well, one of the two resident Frenchies. It's Quartz from One Shot. Quartz, it's been a while since I've had the privilege of talking to you, and may I say, 16-3.
Yeah, I mean, I was going crazy on the last map.
16-3 on Cafe. I mean, incredible stuff, not just from you, but for the team. I mean, overall, I mean, there were so many rounds on the attack where we had, like, round 1, you had a 3K and Swaylin had 2. Round 2, you had another 3K. Round 3, Kilo had a 4K. It was multi-kills back-to-back. When are teams going to learn to stop taking you guys to Cafe?
I don't know. I feel like we've proved that we're really dominant on it. I guess, I mean, we lost to TSM not so long ago, but it was a close match, and TSM is known to be the best Cafe team, or one of the best in the world at least. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, you beat Mirage on it. The only 2 times you've lost it in recent times was to TSM and PB, who are, you know, PB have just qualified, but they're 2 pro league teams. You have won it 7-1 3 times now in SCS every time you've played it. And you guys, you make semifinals, and you guys go up against Wichita Wolves Academy. Are you excited for that rematch?
Hell yeah. I think last time we played them, we had kind of an off day, and they played really well. And yeah, we're definitely looking to get a revenge on this one.
I mean, looking forward to that game. You know, what's the biggest thing you guys are watching out for when it comes to their play?
I guess we got to be more like careful to little details. I mean, I think like we gotta play slower per game, right? Make sure that we check everything, because these guys like every time they see an opportunity, they're gonna frag out, and they're gonna, you know, they're gonna slaughter us. They're playing well.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of seeing opportunities, well, Wichita Wolves Academy may not be as ratty as Mystic. What do you guys think the big issues plaguing you on Oregon were?
Honestly, I think Oregon is a map that's like really defender-sided. It's not really that hard to, like, I guess, understand the teams. They were playing really aggressive on us on defense, and they were winning their ones. So I mean, just kind of win their way.
Yeah, I know we kind of saw you guys struggle a little bit with Mystic, just kind of running around the map and getting crazy. But as soon as they brought that energy to Cafe, I mean, you guys were swift to shut that down. And as well in Oregon, I mean, something we commended you guys for. Sure, it took a while to win the map, but all 5 of you had double-digit kills, with Swaylin just kind of edging out everyone else at 15. I mean, do you think that, not just in SCS, but heading into the next season of Challenger League 2, do you think that's just added depth to your team that kind of lifts you ahead of the rest of T2?
I'd say sure, a little bit, but at the same time, we know that our roster is probably not going to look the same going into CL. Some teams are looking into some of our players, so we'll see what we do with that. But yeah.
That would be cool. I would certainly love to see some of you guys in NAL. You know, if you were to return, maybe get some revenge on Mirage. That would be pretty cool. But I don't know if you were aware of this as well, of course. But a side effect of your win is also that Ariel Arise Academy now qualified due to points to Pro-Am. Do you have anything to say to your fellow Frenchie hypers and the rest of that team?
Yeah, I mean they've been harassing me like at least for the past like 2 days about it. They asked me 4 times today. Spiker asked me 4 times that we had to win tonight so they could qualify. So I mean I'm glad for them.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you had an incredible day. 1.52 rating across both maps, courts. It's a pleasure getting to talk to you again. It's a pleasure getting able to cast a one shot again here. You had an incredible run towards SI quals. You guys look like you are only getting better. Can't wait for the rest of SCS and Challenger League to come. We will see you actually tomorrow again against Wichita Wolves Academy. Courts, have a very good night, my friend, and we will see you tomorrow.
You too. Thank you very much.
Well, the stats, they speak for themselves.
My God.
2.22 rating.
They lost
16,
1 entry engagement.
16-3. Yeah, only lost 1 entry duel. That was Slippery who ended up falling. But my oh my, that is an impressive tally from Courts. And Kilo as well, dropping some pretty good numbers, playing on the support.
4 people with 88% cost.
Oh, baby.
That is, I mean, this, again, you can kind of look at the cost and be like, yes, Courts was fragging out of his mind. He was through and through the star player, but that's not to say anyone else on the team was slacking. It was more that Courts was just kind of swiping all the kills away from them, because we only had 1 round in that entire game that came down to a clutch. And that was round 6. That was the last round of the half. Otherwise, every single other round, I mean, sure, Courts was getting multi-kills, but his team was always behind him, backing him up. They were people he could rely on, and now we got the total map stats across both maps. Courts, Swaylin, Kilo, 26 and 19 frags for the latter 2. Even Storm still 15-3. Slippery negative, but only by 2. Meanwhile, unfortunately for Mystic, we know them as gunners. We know they like to get aggressive, but today was simply not their day. Not a single player even going even.
Yeah, just not working out for Mystic as a whole. Just, they had their moments on Oregon. They certainly did. And you heard Courts highlight during the interview, that aggression that Mystic threw at them was enough to throw one shot through a loop. They had to take a timeout. They had to talk things over. And even then, it wasn't easy for them to bridge that gap. But of course, making it happen in the end. And a nice map too, to tidy it up. Your overall stats, of course, looking good for one shot, especially for Courts, who had a really, really strong performance. But of course, before we wrap up the night, we've got to take a look at our play of the day. Oh, what's that? Mike and Ike's. Our Mike and Ike sweet play of the day, of course, Mike and Ike Sours, your Mike and Ike Mega Mix, Mike and Ike Original Fruits, whatever suits your fancy. Mike and Ike has got it. The delicious, fruity, chewy flavors can help power up your game and take your candy game to the next level as well. Let's take a look at the sweet play and see exactly how Mike and Ike powered up whatever crazy play we've got to make happen.
Yeah, I'm curious to see which one that was chosen. We've had plenty of nuts plays, but it is going to be the 2 versus 5. It started out with Tones getting a nice entry on a Slippery and lighting Kilo up. With that drone getting shot, I thought there was going to be a trade, but he dumpsters Swaylin and Storms just misses a couple too many shots. Tones opts to go for more, and Kilo will cut him down. So that leaves it to a 2 versus 4, and Kilo just continues to try and rappel to the roof to join his teammate of Courts to make this clutch happen. Actually, I know he finds a second one here. I don't actually know where that was. Oh, it was the Aruni trying to retake Pixel. Splash stands up over the shield before getting down there. Now this, I remember, Jonah, this is where we were really worried for one shot and thought Mystic could rip away the round and end the clutch attempt. It was Kicks behind J-Desk, actually getting misdroned there by Kilo. The attack had absolutely no idea he was there. You can see right now, from Courts' perspective, the way he's playing,
Oh, man.
he is completely unaware. No one from Mystic exposing themselves. Oh, Courts was so close to Kicks. If Kicks had just popped up at that very moment and surprised the Ash, that would have been the round over. That would have been 5-1 for Mystic. Maybe they could have taken a couple more rounds. This play from Courts too, I don't know if they had a drone on these players, because I remember there was a yellow ping there, but he was unable to get the pre-fire. And I really thought there, You know, again, despite Kicks not getting the flank, them knowing Quartz was pushing up would be enough for them to win, but the alibi completely sleeping at the wheel, turning around and catching Kicks throw, that was massive. And then Eddie, in a 1 versus 2, didn't know what direction to look. Not only was Kicks' flank woefully mistimed, terribly mistimed, but the fact that both Kilo and Quartz were coming from opposite directions in conjunction against Eddie really ensured that there was no chance the Jaeger was bringing that back. And I mean, that is just the elevated level of siege that we see from a top Challenger League team like One Shot.
And your playoff picture as it stands, all of our quarterfinals done and dusted. Our semis are confirmed. Dallas Vendetta versus Chess Club, One Shot versus Wichita Wolves Academy, a rematch of last stage's grand final that Wichita Wolves Academy was able to secure. One Shot looking for that redemption. They would love to confirm that Pro-Am spot by winning this. I suppose they've already got theirs by points in theory, but you know, you win this stage, I suppose it opens up the opportunity for another team to get into the mix as well. But Harrison, we already got to cast a grand final last stage.
We did.
We had a very exciting quarterfinal run here, but that is going to do it for us.
Yeah.
In terms of casting this stage, we've got
We're done.
Carter and Benny taking the mic tomorrow. We've got Connor and CJ taking the mic for the grand final on Sunday. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you all, to be with the crazy numbers of viewers that we've been pulling in recently. It has been a lot of fun. So we want to thank you all for tuning in, for supporting us here at SCS, for supporting our amazing sponsors, and we will see you all hopefully in chat tomorrow for some fantastic semifinals. We'll see you then.